Kaboom, literal cold open. As in, we're live, Owen. Uh-oh. It's not this again, is it?
I'm a little delayed. Is that going to be a problem?
I don't think so.
I can barely hear anyone.
Oh, no. Are we coming out right? Oh. At least you can hear us. We're so... Oh. I don't think it's my mic. No, I can't do that there. Right. I'm so confused as to why that's still ringing in the background, but whatever. So welcome everybody. Running a little late, but the hangout has begun and stuff.
Watching myself delayed is kind of tripping me out. It feels like a scene out of Sinister or something.
I mean, I could try. Hang on. I could try and change the region in case that was a factor. Hang on, let's switch to.
You sound better now.
Oh, okay. Let me quickly see if I can. Randomly switch to US Central and see if it's still delayed.
Oh, here we go. We're normal.
There we go.
There's so many things in chat that have been since we started so late that I don't have everything. Please tell me you do.
I think so. Yeah, it's been there since everything. So.
All right. So yeah, there's only one thing that needs to be said before we start today. I'll see you out in the fog.
Oh.
But yeah. That's all that needs to be said.
Oh, hang on. That was done with Craig. Switch back. There we go. Tension mounting. Owen's back out. Owen is heading into the fog.
Yep. And I may be having a little more of a spring in my step afterwards. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe you'll find out on the next podcast. Probably not. I'm very behind on things right now. So
that means he's going to be Zebedee in the Magic Roundabout, innit? Spring. I get it.
I just want another 15 minutes of you just speaking cryptically in puns.
Well,
my first is in globe, but not in snow.
Well, I mean, I wish I could say snow, but no, it's something a little different, something a little more still festive, but in a completely different direction. So I guess you'll have to wait and see what I mean by that. So, yes, this show almost didn't happen. I'm not gonna lie, 100%. I'll just shoot for you guys up front. This show was about one day from getting canceled. This whole week was. And to make it up to you guys, what I was gonna do is I was gonna do 2 straight weeks of this. So next week would have been movie club and Q&A, and then the week after we're doing movie club and Q&A. The reason I didn't, because Memorial Day, so it makes sense that we're going to end this month that seemed like it's last absolutely forever, with 2 double shots. And congratulations to CM Punk on him winning the AEW World Heavyweight Championship last night.
Speaking of forever.
That was a fun show. I love watching that live. Especially Mark's behind me the whole night. So yeah, I
don't know what to think. I had somebody literally crying and choking for the last 20 minutes of Everything Everywhere All at Once this afternoon.
Yeah, So, at the end of the day, there's a lot to talk about, and 2 hours to talk about it, so that's what we're going to do tonight. This is our Popcast Hangout. We're going to come up with a fancy schmancy name for it down the line, but right now, you got a Q&A, so restaurant quality, just like everything in nature intended, including Jim Ross's new AEW figure, which also dropped on Saturday.
Oh my god.
Lots of stuff to talk about. I even have a Kevin Smith story to give you guys for MegaCon. We're going to get to that a little bit later.
Oh.
And I was sick, and I ended up going to Busch Gardens, and I felt I was going to die, and then I woke up the next morning, and I felt a lot less like I was going to die, but just in my, old, Eeyore self. I'm not sick, I don't feel bad, it's just, I was, very lethargic. I wasn't sore, I wasn't, throwing up or anything like that, I wasn't actually sick, I was literally just, blah. And slowly but surely, thanks to the magical powers of Mucinex and ibuprofen, and breezers, which are amazing, by the way, I recommend them to everyone. Halls, breezers, so awesome. Definitely use those for horror nights this year. I will state right now that survival happened, and that's why we have a show tonight. And the reason why we don't have a Popcast Movie Club on its regular scheduled day and time, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a movie that we'll talk about in great length tomorrow night, but I've yet to get 12 minutes past it right now because I've been so sick and I haven't had a chance to actually watch the movie yet. Even though I literally could watch it on my phone, but I don't feel like that's justifiable. So, lots to talk about, not much to do, lots of time on our hands, stream Funeral Grey, and let's get started. So yeah, welcome to our Q&A show here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. I am your talking head for the evening. I've got my Dr. Pepper here. Thank you, Troy, for giving me your stash. Because you have to do something when you're flying across the other side of the country. What do? You give Owen your Diet Dr. Pepper. He's very grateful for this. So, yeah. Lots of sipping snacks coming very soon. Don't worry. So, yeah, there's lots of cool things to talk about. Got to ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Definitely recommend. So good, so awesome. Very nice, very evil, of course. And I got to ride all my favorite coasters. It's been a really fun time hanging out with Troy, like it always is. And been working a bit because it's busy right now because work and school don't exist anymore. And spring break and summer kind of just meld into each other like neither of you one either begins or ends. So needless to say, we're going to be busy for a while. That being said, great for the paycheck, bad for the stress levels, and that's why we're here tonight. So joining us as always, we have Ashley.
Howdy do.
We have AJ.
Obviously, before we even start, there's already something that I'm curious to get context for because I was on the phone with Owen when it was like 6 o'clock, and I was still on the phone with him, and he had just gotten home, and he said, "Do you want to look in and see if people are there yet, or we have questions yet?" And I was like, I don't do that because I don't want to know any of the questions ahead of time. So I just glanced really quickly just to see, and the only thing I saw was a comment from Josie that said something like, "Suck it, Birdman in 1917."
Yeah.
I
that
read
that exists.
now.
I'm assuming it has to do with something being one take, but I'm curious what the rest of the context is. So I'm
Aye.
curious to get
Should we get into the context?
Please do, because I don't have anything before the wrapped up comment from Josie. So real quick before we get started, I do want to mention thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us when we were supposed to start at 6. We were supposed to start at 6:30, and we thought about starting at 6:45, and it's kind of somewhat where we landed, a little bit somewhere in between. But yeah, I got a Kevin Smith story to tell a little bit later, so I definitely will do that, which I'm excited to tell that story too. So.
And I had told Owen that I kind of wanted to start. I kind of wanted to start the whole thing bringing up Leota, but I'm assuming he comes up very quickly, so I guess we'll just go into it naturally.
Minds are being read. So,
Or Ashley's the only one that has access to these questions at the beginning, at least. So, Ashley, what do you got?
Josephine starts out with, "Hello, Popcast team. I hope you guys are doing well. Recently finished Make Love the Bruce Campbell way, and Hail to the Chin, part of my Bruce Campbell bookathon. Both are great. Right now I'm reading Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, the author of the Book of Station 11. What's your favourite Bruce Campbell performance?" This is to tie into what you saw earlier, glanced at, AJ. I recently watched Running Time, starring Bruce Campbell, directed by Josh Becker. It's a more serious role of his, but it's a one-take heist film in black and white. Only like 17 minutes. Eat it, Birdman in 1917.
Nice. So that question was favorite Bruce Campbell performance?
Yeah.
That's correct.
I mean, I really hate to state the obvious, but how can you not say Evil Dead 2?
I am honestly on the fence about 1 or 2. Because obviously...
Another option could be Bubba Hotep, but I've never been really a fan of that, so it was pretty easy for me to narrow it down.
One is obviously a much more serious horror film, whereas it sort of goes, you know, the style of humour that we know Bruce Campbell for. Even for all those random episodes of Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess that he just showed up in. And apparently he like directed a ton of them as well. Like,
I think one of the things that, I mean, obviously we talked about it 2 weeks ago, and I feel like it makes sense to bring it up again, is I really like him in Sky High. But, I never really, and AJ knows this, and this may perk your guys' mindset for movie club. And by all means, if you want to go that route, please do. Never seen an Evil Dead movie except for the newer stuff. Never saw the original, never saw Army of Darkness, never saw Evil Dead 2.
so you only saw the Jane Lynch or Jane Levy, the reboot?
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
And I
you saw.
may or may not become very familiar with the new movie, but that's neither here nor there. The thing is, one of the things that I want to mention right now is one of my favorite Bruce Campbell performances, other than Sky High, is I love Ash vs. Evil Dead. And honestly, watching the first, Tori hooked me on the first season of Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I remember watching it, and when it came to Halloween Horror Nights, I was like, I kind of need a little bit of a reference piece. Unlike Stranger Things, unlike American Horror Story, unlike Walking Dead, all these shows that came to Horror Nights that I didn't care about watching, I actually watched Ash vs. Evil Dead. Liked it quite well.
That's something that you have on me. I have not started Ash vs. Evil Dead yet.
It's weird to think I have a TV show on you that's not Heels.
Filming in Georgia.
Darn right.
What's that stupid show that Dillman has on?
All 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
When he plays me. Yes, 100%.
I do love the fact, though, I'm surprised that you haven't brought it up, AJ. I didn't realise. Considering Bubba Hotep is Elvis, and obviously that there was a lot of criticism of the new Elvis film at Cannes, that the Elvis Nixon stuff isn't brought up. I guess because Baz Luhrmann was like, there's already a movie for that.
Yes,
Bruce Campbell played Reagan in Fargo.
That's right.
And in a comedy for one is still comedy, or in this case, comedy for two is still comedy. You know what else Bruce Campbell was in? He was in Burn Notice. You know who watches Burn Notice? Harris watched Burn Notice. Love
Yeah, because
TNT loves drama.
he also has a cameo in Fargo's movie as well, the soap opera that Peter Stormare is watching, I believe.
What are you talking about? TNT loves drama.
That's the whole Aziz bit, is it not?
Oh. I was getting confused because it's like it's on USA. It's like...
Wow, I'm gaining less irrelevance every single day thanks to Ashley. Good job.
I was just like, are we crossing the streams here? Is this AEW and WWE at it again? Discovery Plus. He was in 111 episodes of Burn Notice. Like, that's the most things he's ever been in.
Harris watched every single one of them. Guaranteed.
He was randomly the voice. Hang on, I need to check if he was in the voice in the actual movie as well. He was in The Ant Bully? What?
Yeah. According to this.
There's a lot of people in the Ant Bully. That actually doesn't surprise me at all.
No, but it's like his voice was also in the video game. And I know of his notoriety of being the tutorial guy in the Raimi video games. Just how Stan Lee was the tutorial guy in the Vicarious Vision ones that came out on PS2 like 2 decades ago. Yeah. I mean, I expect him in all the like Evil Dead crossover stuff. I expect him to be there. It makes sense. But like the Ant Bully, you know, so many of those. It's like we get the sound alikes for the video game because it's too costly. But no, this is like.
Apparently, there is a volume issue with me and AJ. I scrolled.
Oh right. Yeah, sorry. When I was streaming earlier this week, I tweaked it. I had to tweak it down because the game music on one of the things basically has an on or an off, and I wanted to keep the atmosphere, so everybody had to be turned down. It's just so the music could be quieter.
So we weren't silent; we were just quiet.
No, we were quiet.
Okay.
Fine.
Sorry about that, everybody. Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Josh Becker all went to high school together in Michigan. You should really check out Bruce's fan Q&As on YouTube. They're hilarious. The one I saw, it does basically. I'm not trying to segue in because I want to hear this story, but it does feel like the Kevin Smith Q&As. In all honesty, it just feels like we're here, shoot the shit, sort of thing.
All right. Okay. So to preface this, since Ashley apparently wants to utilize this as a segue.
I wasn't.
Anyway.
It's just that those Q&As just do actually feel like that the style of Q&As like I've seen from the. I think it's 3 Kevin Smith DVDs that I've got because they're
under my bed right now
because they were in the £1 bargain bin and being got rid of from the shop.
God, no, AJ knows this. They were required viewing in my house. We watched those things on a loop ski, along with Anchorman and Dodgeball.
Yeah.
That's how life was back then. So, Kevin Smith's story as Ashley disappears and comes back most likely with food. So, here's what we're going to do. I went to California, as you guys know. I obviously did a lot of videos, a lot of snaps. Things were great. Wife was wonderful. Got 25 new roller coaster credits. Everything's great. I can fit on everything now. It's wonderful. One of the things I also got to do was I found out while I was in California, stressing incessantly about finding out if I was going to get cast or not for Mardi Gras, was the fact that I ended up finding out that Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes were going to be doing a Jay and Silent Bob Get Old at MegaCon. And with cons coming back now, it was like no-brainer. It's like, cool. It's like $30 general admission. I was like, okay. It's like $60 for like not really reserve seating, but like you have access to get in early. I was like, yeah. And then it's like hundreds of dollars if you want to get VIP. I was like, I can't afford it. I wish I could. The fact that Kevin Smith remains somebody I have yet to meet still like does not sit well with me to this day, because there's so many opportunities I've had that have like blown up in my face. Like, for example, Tim got to meet him when he was doing the movies pop up, like early on when I had to work that day. And I didn't get a chance to see him when he performed at Hard Rock, when he did the Smodcast. So with him and Garmin, and I didn't get a chance to see him there either. And him and Muse showed up for the meet and greet for the opening of the movies pop up again. Same at Tin Roof, the place I saw Max Caster. That video is coming to the network real soon. The Major Pod Live 11, which of course I promote constantly and always will. And that god awful, whatever cult show you want to call it, UC3 put on there. Needless to say, at the end of the day, I wasn't doing very well when it came to meeting Kevin Smith, and still haven't. We talked last time about the Kevin Smith evening with Q&A that I got to watch in Akron, Ohio, same day that I got to watch Black Snake Moan. And to not give anything away, go back to my past to say it was the time that I was with everybody at that point in life, at that set time, that were the most important people in my world. The only problem is we all were not together. We were in different locations in the venue. So, yeah, I've kind of had a chip on my shoulder about meeting Kevin Smith. And then I saw the price point. And I was like, yeah, I can't afford that either. So it's like, I need a picture. It's all I want. And it's like $80. I'm like, no. Like, oh, and you'll pay like $300 for wrestling figures? Yes, but that's an investment. And meeting Kevin Smith is as well, but that's a completely different story. And I don't have the money that I used to, because obviously I have to pay more rent now. So needless to say, it's kind of very difficult to make work. So I was just going to be happy to go. Well, we get to the day of. Apparently, we had a world-ending storm that night that happened while I was in the actual show, and I had no idea what was going on. When Troy picked me up, he basically was like drenched from head to toe. So that happened. There was like tornadoes that touched down, not near me, but like close by. So it's like, okay, like crazy storms. But at any rate, the gimmick here was you did not have to have a ticket to the con in order to go to this. Keep this in mind. Get to the venue. And I feel like I'm telling a Kevin Smith story right now, because I kind of am. All right. Even down to drinking the randomness, but I don't have a Red Bull here or anything like that, or Liquid Death or anything like he had during the Q&A. Oh, no. Where to go into that? So I get to the venue. Go straight to the ticketing location. Show them my ticket on my phone. They say, you need a ticket. I was like, I'm aware of that. That's the reason why I need to come here. And it was the same place that WrestleMania did fan access when they were here in 2017, when I first moved here. And it's a great venue. I like the Orange County Convention Center, but they need to get people that know what they're talking about. So I go there, and they send me away. And I said, oh, you need to go to the venue and go talk to someone over at the venue, and this is how you get there. I was like, okay, fine. Follow the path right around. I feel like I'm in an airport at this point, and I get over there. Next thing you know, I go to the security guard. They're like, you don't have a ticket. Like, I'm aware of this. I'm not trying to get in. I just want to see Kevin Smith. You don't have a ticket. I'm aware of this. They directed me over here. You need to go back over there and get a ticket. Okay. Leave. Go back all the way around the other side of the building. Come back. Hi again. It's me. You remember me. You're looking over your rainbow-colored glasses. Tell me now. And this is what I'm thinking, because obviously not saying this, because I'm not gonna go off on these people, because they're just doing their job. They may not just be giving information. I get it. She's not an unintelligent person. I'm guessing she just was told the information that she gave me. I'm fair with that. I was like, okay, I need a ticket. That's what they told me I do. Security told me I need a ticket. Can't get in until 6:30. I'm aware of that. They told me I still need a ticket. You can't get into 6:30. I'm also aware of that. Tell me give me a ticket. Your phone's your ticket. That's what they told me already. So, go back around again. Go back to security. I get inside. And then I get inside the venue. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, this time, instead of going through security, I walk through where the ticket lady is again. The nice ticket lady I've seen like 17 times. And what ends up happening is she directs me straight. Well, straight means going into the venue, which I don't have a ticket for. And everyone that has a ticket in this venue has a badge on. So it's like, go up there. I was like, all right, fine. I run into a fellow's character, weirdly enough. Probably not so because it's a con. And he directs me to this location to get more information. And I was like, he was meaning well, but it wasn't where I needed to go. And they're directing me another place. Like, go to the info desk. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Go to the info desk. They're like, well, you need to go out in the building and go back around again. I was like, oh, I've done this already. So I go to security, and they're like, how'd you get in here? And I was like, well, I just followed the path they told me to go. I'm not trying to pull a fast one. I'm really not. I just want to go to this show. And they're like, okay, just keep walking. Go straight. What is straight? Straight is the floor of the con. A place I really don't belong. And it is packed. Oh my God. If you've ever been to a convention, you know how packed they get. Multiply that by 7. Needless to say, I'm walking, like power walking, trying to hold my lanyard around my neck, make it look like I belong there, but trying to make it realize that I don't know where I'm going. So I'm power walking through all these marks and everything like that, and it smells like patchouli oil and desperation, like always. And then you're just walking through and everything like that, and I finally get there, and I get up the escalator, and they're like, how'd you get here? I was like, they told me to go straight. I did what they told me to do. I just want to go to the venue and see Kevin Smith. Finally, a guy goes, oh yeah, it's 6:30 now. You can go in. I was like, okay. So, of course, I'm like, I go to the line, and I see the first one I see. It's like, oh, I'm right at the door. And then I was like, oh, no, that's the GA line. I was like, okay, cool. Then where's the advanced line? Back around the corner. I was like, okay, fine. Well, I was thinking if I got in early, I would have, like, front row seats, and I'd be close to Kevin. At least I'd be able to, like, give him a dap or something like that. But shake his hand or something. Try to sneak a selfie like WWE style. But I mean, no, that was not the case. Got in the venue, and luckily I managed to find a seat next to a very nice couple that were like to the left of me. That she had a wheelchair and her husband had one chair, and I could just sit next to them, and I did, and that was great. So what I did was I sat down. So I was second row, but I still wasn't able to get there. And then it was announced that Kevin and Jay were going long because they needed to take care of everybody. And the con was run so crazily that it was taking forever for this to happen. So we waited and waited and waited and waited. We almost waited about 2 hours before they came out. And then we got a full Q&A. We got a live Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. It's going to be on the Smod Network, of course, if you want to check that out. From Orlando Universal, take a shot. No, I said Universal. Orlando MegaCon. And one of the gimmicks that they're doing now are something called quick stops. So what they're doing is they're talking about like history from View Askew is being turned into panels for a comic book. And one of the things that they did for this was they had a read-along of this panel in the comic book. And it was basically how there was a person that is the reason why Jay and Silent Bob ended up meeting Holden McNeil. And that's the story that they told. And it involved Holden and Alyssa for the Blunt Man and Chronic panel at Comic-Con. So, yeah, it was a really well done, and I definitely want to recommend it for sure. If you want to check it out, you'll hear everything. And it was great. I'm very happy to see Kevin Smith again. I'll tell you right now, once more, when I get the chance to see Kevin Smith,
And AJ knows I've done this before, and I've called my shot Babe Ruth style. Like I said with Penn and Teller, if I get another opportunity to see Kevin Smith, this will not be a time that I do not finally meet him. And I said that about Penn and Teller, and soon after, the Hard Rock Live date got announced. As soon as Kevin Smith is announced for Orlando, and the fact that Grace lives in Florida, it makes perfect sense. So he comes here a lot. This is the time that I finally get to shake one of my idols' hands. And of course, my other idols, Walt Disney, of course, no longer living, so that's not an option.
That we're
Penn
aware
Jillette.
of.
Penn Jillette is the biggest bucket list item that I was able to check off. And then Kevin Smith, and then there's one more person to meet. We'll talk about him tomorrow. That's your story time with Owen, ladies and gentlemen. And we continue with your regularly scheduled podcast.
I have a significantly less interesting Kevin Smith anecdote.
Go ahead.
I haven't met him, but I asked him years and years and years ago. I asked him a question on Reddit.
I haven't done that.
I asked he answered it, which is kind of surprising. I asked him how long it took to do Michael Parks' monologue in Red State.
Oh, nice.
Because that monologue is like a big chunk of that movie.
Oh, yeah.
It took one day. That's how good Michael Parks was.
Certainly. But yeah, that's the Kevin Smith story. You'll be able to get more information on my meetup with Kevin Smith the next time it happens. I will let you all know when it's going to happen, and I will have photographic proof to check off 2 of the 3 living idols that I have on this planet.
It's still, I mean, it's something that should have happened a long time ago. It's still kind of trippy to me that you finally met Penn and Teller, and I got that vibe especially just last night. They played the episode of Friends that Penn was on.
Yes.
It's whenever I see him, it occurs to me, it's like, oh yeah, you've like totally met him now.
He called me boss.
I can hear that in my mind so clearly.
He had shaken my hand, and I told him how much of I said there's 3 people that I have idolized throughout time. It was Walt Disney, Dave Letterman, and yourself. And he says, I'm very happy to be in that company with them. But yeah, that's the Kevin Smith story. And yeah, he's liked messages I've posted on Twitter and things like that. Like Ron White liked the message when I posted I went to go see him when he was here a couple weeks ago. The best weekend ever. Needless to say, it was a nice weekend for obvious reasons. Yes. But yeah, it was cool to see Ron White, and I really hope that now that I officially can say I have Halloween Horror Nights, I will probably end up missing out on David Spade, which I'm not happy about.
Oh, that sucks.
But I know this doesn't excite you because I know you're not a fan, but I'm still trying for Lewis Black for some.
Maybe if you try and find some sort of way for David Spade to go in the fog.
That might be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Continue actually on the Bruce Campbell Q&A thing. I didn't notice until just now. Someone asked at one of the fan events who would win in a fight, the Thing from Addams Family or Ash's Bad Hand from Evil Dead 2.
That's on you guys.
I mean, I'd have to say Ash's Evil Hand because I don't think Thing has tried to kill anybody.
Yeah, so Ash's hand is more evil and deadly, but I feel like Thing could maybe outsmart it.
For sure.
Thing is pretty cunning.
We've learned that in all the Addams Family movies.
Rest in peace, Ray Liotta and Bo Hopkins. Famous performances from them in honor of their memory. I think for Hopkins, I had to look through because I was trying to think about what he was in. And I don't want to say like sort of the obvious ones, like in his early days.
Yeah, only two really come to mind for me immediately.
Which are?
The big one is American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the reason, like, the way he says it's the principle has been in my... That's how I deliver. Anytime I say the words, it's the principle, I say it exactly like he does. And I just rewatched American Graffiti a few weeks ago, and I may have already mentioned this in a previous Q&A, but I love that movie so much I can't describe it. And I don't think we did a video on it back in the day, and I don't think I really expressed that enough in it. I really, really love that movie. And he's the guy that arrests, what is his name? Brad Davis at the beginning of Midnight Express?
Yeah, I saw Midnight Express.
That's the one I was actually going to bring up.
Somebody got really mad at me in the comments over that actor. I'm pretty sure his name is Brad Davis, right? He was in, like, Chariots of Fire. He's the main character. He's no longer with us. But those are the two things I think of when I think of Bo Hawk. But I know he's been around.
I think it's Brad or Ben. No, it is Brad Davis. There was somebody Ben in Chariots of Fire. That's why I was getting confused.
And I also want to make sure I don't say Billy because that was his character's name.
Because the other one that I thought would have been sort of his obvious one is arguably the breakthrough one, which was Peckinpah's Wild Bunch. Because I think he was one of the group, wasn't he?
Yep. Jesus.
There were so many in that. It was like, was he? Yeah.
This is the only time we can say. This is the only time in context it ever makes sense. The Wild Bunch in this sense is much like the Ant Bully. Just everybody's there.
So I will say one of the things, and it's getting way more in the chat, which we may have to cap chat like before too long if we don't get more on the go. And I'm sorry for the long diatribe there. But the thing is, Josie mentioned about watching the Batman with her mom, and she wasn't going to be able to join us tonight, but she has stuck around and she's continuing to provide more questions. So we appreciate you, Josie, as always.
And in terms of Leota, I don't actually want to say a movie. I want to say GTA Vice City.
That was
the first time we actually had a speaking character after, you know, Claude Speed being just a mute, just like nodding and doing stuff. You know, and that performance as well of the betrayed because, you know, he goes to prison basically because Sonny Forelli wanted him out of the way. He pissed them off so much that it basically stopped them from doing famous people in cast, because they were like, they wanted Ray Liotta back for San Andreas, and he was like, "You're paying me more money, right?" And they were like, "Can Bill Fichtner just like pretend to talk to him?"
So AJ brought something up to my attention on the phone with me about an hour ago, and I think it makes perfect sense. And AJ basically said that Ray Liotta's kind of been the kind of a cornerstone of movie content here on Popcast Network.
Completely unintentionally.
Yeah, we've never done this on purpose. Reviews and verses, he's all over it.
Let me break this down for you. There's a movie I'm getting ready to talk about, but when looking at his filmography and stuff, this is just stuff that predates us doing reviews for like movies that have just come out. This is just like versus stuff.
Yep.
Field of Dreams, Goodfellas, Unlawful Entry, Copland, Hannibal, Blow, Narc, John Q, Identity. All those things I said all have videos on this channel already. Plus all the stuff that's come out since 2013 that we talked about when it first came out. And I have a handful here I actually wanted to mention because I don't want to gloss over Liotta. I don't just want to say, "Oh, I like this performance, let's move on."
Nope.
My favorite Leota performance since the beginning of time, and I think I've mentioned this 100 times at least, is Demi's Something Wild. I mentioned this in that video that keeps coming up, and for some reason, one of our first videos where we talked about movies that were off the radar at the time. I'll just say this right now: this is definitely going to be a movie club pick for me soon. Like within the next few of my turns, it's going to come up. And like I said, I already did a video on Copland, but you can't mention Copland too many times, so I just want to do that again. A great James Mangold movie. And a couple that I hadn't talked about yet that I wanted to bring up to show how he was really able to show different sides to him, because typically when you think of Leota, you probably think of like villain characters or criminals, which was a lot of his career. But he did pretty much everything great, and something he was really underrated for was comedy. A movie that seems to be having this sort of random resurgence, at least in the circles that I run in, I guess, is does anybody remember Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt? He has a great comedic performance. There is a scene where he is tied to a bed that is hysterical. And he got to show that off really well. And a movie that I really love, it's not a perfect movie, but I really, really love it anyway, is Karina with him and Whoopi Goldberg. You have no idea. This is like the sweetest movie ever. It's got a lot of My Girl vibes, and he is so great in it. When it tries to tackle race, I don't know if it completely hits it as well as it's trying to, especially since it comes in late. It feels like kind of a tonal shift, but it's still a movie I've always really loved anyway. And the last thing I wanted to bring up was, for some reason, that Goodfellas and Casino video I did a while back has done really well over time.
Yes.
But it was also a video that was 7 years ago, I think. And for some reason, we've gotten a couple, like more than one recent comments.
Oh, yeah.
On that video in particular, saying, why haven't you updated to Blu-ray? First off, I thought it was weird there was that one. Well, here's my fucking Goodfellas Blu-ray, just so you know that it exists.
Wow.
So please shut the fuck up. It exists. I know I don't have Casino on Blu-ray yet, and I actually picked Casino in that video, but there. So they can shut the fuck up about that. I hope. Not that these will cross paths or anything.
From what I remember from the covers, the DVD just has a better cover than the Blu-ray. In some cases, it's just that whatever they do with the Blu-ray, it's just not, it's like haphazardly put together. Whereas at least the release over here sort of was the 2-disc special edition was really sort of it sort of fit the mood rather than here's some faces.
Yeah, well, my DVD cover is just the original poster.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
It looks. I just looked at it on here on my small window here. It looks so much like the Wall Street poster from far away. They're like identical. Yeah. And Wall Street came first, weirdly.
I didn't realize he was in the reboot of Hannah that Amazon put out last year.
So, it's interesting because I'm looking at the filmography right now, and there's lots of movies you could throw out there. Honestly, one of the ones I'm gonna throw out, and this is something that honestly would not shock me if it ends up getting a movie club somewhere down the line, and it's something that AJ and I both enjoy, and something that we've been doing this so long we may have already done one, so I may be wrong on this, but the correct we haven't, right? Don't say it.
I don't believe so. Are you going towards Carnahan?
We're going back with Aziz on this one too, so.
Oh yes.
We have not done this yet, correct?
Yeah, because I thought you were gonna say Smoking Aces, which also
Smoking Aces is fantastic, but I have a feeling there are people that have seen Smoking Aces, and I know it has a cult following for sure. One of the movies that doesn't, and something that definitely should, is
it does now.
It does. That's good. It's about freaking time. So, I have been the biggest proponent of being the world's biggest hater of Paul Blart Mall Cop. and I absolutely despise this movie in every way possible. Now, that being said, there was a movie that came out around the same time that actually did the movie a lot better and made it more of a darkly comedic movie instead. And it was called Observe and Report.
Yeah.
And it is
Rogan.
phenomenal.
Rogan
Amazing.
actually, when the news broke, Rogan wrote a really nice tweet about him.
Very nice.
Oh, and talking about cult movies, there's also I never thought much of it, but I guess it's gotten a cult following over time. A lot of people like No Escape.
Yeah,
which is a most dangerous game kind of thing he did. It was the movie Martin Campbell did right before Goldeneye, and a lot of people love that. But it's So.
And if you want to talk about a movie that we have talked to death on this channel, like forever and a day, that Ray Liotta was also a part of, and that would be The Iceman.
Yes.
We have not discussed. There is nothing we haven't discussed about The Iceman on this network.
He's
100%.
really fucking good in The Iceman too. No, that's a movie where he's like really in his element too.
And of course, he was in an episode of Phineas and Ferb as himself as well.
Yes, he was.
And SpongeBob. And Hannah Montana.
Yeah. he ran the bubble popping gang.
So yeah, that's we definitely wanted to send our respects to the family and friends of Ray Liotta, and we wanted to give our support to his career. And if you haven't had a chance to watch a Ray Liotta film, do so as soon as possible.
I love that we ended on his SpongeBob episode.
or wait until next year, because apparently he does have a role in Elizabeth Banks's Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, and he's in Charlie
movies on his posthumous release list.
He's also in Charlie Day's movie, which I'm wondering when it's going to see the light of day. He brings it up in the Always Sunny podcast, but there's like no word on when we're going to see it.
It's been completed according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, but what's it for? Is it for Netflix or? Oh no, I guess they're shopping it round maybe.
That would make sense.
Doesn't have a
because
I
would say
production
companies, but no distributor seemingly yet.
No.
Yes, I was gonna say if it had a distributor, we'd probably have a release date by now.
But yeah.
Cannes has wrapped up with Ruben Östlund winning his second Palme d'Or with Triangle of Sadness. Thoughts on the winners?
That's why I said I don't fucking predict Cannes, because what's the first thing I said? It's probably not going to be a repeat winner. And what
To be fair, a lot of the contenders were in there were actually winners as well. There was a lot of people that had precedence anyway. I heard.
Big shout out to Song Kang-ho getting actor. That's exciting.
Yeah, for I'm trying to remember which performance that was. Oh, for Broker, yeah, Koreeda's film. And then Park Chan-wook getting director. Decision to leave. And then the other big thing I saw, Riley Keough getting debut. Well, along with Gina Gamel, but they shared it for War Pony, because it's technically both their debuts. And then of course that big thing where Tom Cruise got one because he's Tom Cruise.
I mean, if you've seen Top Gun Maverick, you'd be willing to give him just about anything right now.
But yeah, I heard good things about the Jerry Lee Lewis documentary from, was it Joel or Ethan?
Is that Ethan's thing?
I think it might have been Ethan's with when Joel was doing Tragedy of McDonald. And I heard good things about Crimes of the Future as well, and Decision to Leave. Armageddon Time was a bit mixed, but I'm willing to give it a possible chance.
Mick sounds exactly like James Gray.
Yeah. And then, of course, at the same time, that big sort of him saying what's wrong with Marvel and cinema by saying Marvel is wrong and so is sort of Scorsese. The industry is wrong. It needs to be right. Or something. And then the mixed reviews for 3,000 Years of Longing, which was out of competition. And then the less than mixed reviews for Elvis. Turns out, if you want to tell somebody's life in 2 hours and 40 minutes, don't make Elvis. You might want to do a Stranger Things and make it a bit longer and actually go into the intricacies.
Because even Carpenter's movie was like 3 hours, wasn't it? And people had problems with it too.
Yeah. Back to the live shit. Yeah, Neon went 3 for 3 with Parasite, Titan, and now Triangle of Sadness.
That's wild.
And A24 is gonna go. So Everything Everywhere is really hyped. Bury it. If it does too well, it becomes Sticks. Oh, Spencer's got the surveys in. Favorite early Hitchcock film.
What is early his?
Of course,
Is early like his
I
silent era, or?
I mean, I want to say the best one is The Man Who Knew Too Much because he literally remade it.
Well, I've brought up Blackmail a few times. That's probably my go-to answer. But he did. Was this in the silent era? There's a while there where it kind of blends together, and I genuinely can't remember which are the silent movies and which aren't. How weird is that? I remember he did a movie called Champagne that looked really good visually. I think that might have been in his silent era. That one comes to mind. He's also got some boring shit in his silent era too, like Jamaica Inn and shit. What was the one that got remade with Jessica Biel? Easy Virtue, I think, was one of his.
Oh God. Sorry, I'm getting triggers of that, and I know it wasn't his, but the remake last year or 2 years ago, but it didn't come out till last year because of the pandemic. The remake of Blithe Spirit, ugh.
I never saw it, but I heard enough that I wasn't in a hurry.
Yeah. It's like, Judi Dench, what are you doing? Oh wait, she's doing commercials for money supermarket price comparison sites. I wish I was. We got John Goodman being a log. Hang on, where is it? We got John Goodman being a log, and we got Judi Dench trying to get you to get cheaper car insurance. And I'm pretty sure Robert De Niro was doing a Warburton's bread advert as well.
That wasn't his. I was trying. Who did do the original Blithe Spirit? I know this. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point.
I know this, but also I don't.
Oh, wait a minute. I have something here. Because books are not obsolete, Internet.
Oh.
Yes.
Leonard, help us.
This is exactly what I fucking need right now. It's Leonard Maltin's classic movie guide. Exactly what I need. Alright, we are finding this shit out. Alright. I know my fucking alphabet, so this should be very quick. Oh, David Lean. Fuck. Yeah. See, looking that up in a book took quicker than it probably would have typing it in. Because I didn't even bother typing it in.
Hang on, I'm just... I need to put a thing saying... Comments... Stop in 5 minutes. Because there's too much to go through and we've only got like an hour or so to do it, so you get your last questions in if you can, and we can try and get through them. Most favorite, well, I guess favorite and least favorite Shrek film. Well, favorite's 1.
Yeah, the worst is 3. Obviously, that's not even close. Because I think 4 is really underrated. 4 is hilarious.
Yeah.
I probably prefer 1 to 2, but I know people really love 2, and I really like 2 also. But I'm probably just partial to the first one, as boring as that is.
Part of me wants to say Puss in Boots because technically it is part of the Shrekverse.
I didn't like Puss in Boots when it came out, but I rewatched it like many years after the fact and actually really liked it. And I don't know what happened the first time.
It's just because I don't want to say 3 because it just seems like the obvious go-to.
3 is just fucking terrible.
The only good bit was the frog dying to live and let die, because if anybody knows that Paul McCartney did the frog chorus in that Rupert Bear movie, it's extra sort of in joke. The worst director working today. Okay.
David E. Talbot. David E. Talbot is the bane of my existence.
I have to say, Neil. Oh, go ahead, Owen.
No, I have an answer, but it's more biased than anything else, so I don't feel like I can say it.
Just because I don't know what he's trying to do, and whether he is trying to be Tommy Wiseau or not, I have to say Neil Breen, because he's the worst, but at the same time he might be the best, but I don't know whether he's intentionally doing it.
I know the answer. It's easy. AJ, you'll get this. It's Dinesh D'Souza.
Oh no. That's
yeah. Okay. David E. Talbot, you live to fight another day.
That might be the only thing. That might be the only thing that AJ and the Razzies agree on when it comes to worst director.
I'm not a fan of either Michael Cole, so there you go.
There's got to be so many answers to this. This could almost be its own video.
Spencer's saying, I just watched Pacific Heights, AJ. I love it.
Nice. That's something it's one of those movies that I remember being like a big deal like in the 90s, and then it just seems like it disappeared without a trace. And then I did was that just last year I did that video with it and The Plumber?
I think so.
Yeah, and Keaton made my brothers when we did our villains list. Yes, I'm so happy whenever people seek that out.
Opinion on actors and actresses turn directors. Is it a bad idea or a good idea, and what do you think you need to be good at both? That's like 5 questions in one.
The first thing depends on if you're gonna be the star of your movies. I would say the very first rule is to leave vanity at the door, which a lot of people don't. I just immediately thought of Bradley Cooper. I mean, I still like I still really like A Star Is Born, and I'm very curious about this Bernstein movie. But Bradley Cooper is just kind of the first person I thought of. Yeah, I don't have anything against it, especially if we're talking like Redfords who aren't typically in their own movies. Obviously he's been in some of his movies, but not like an overabundance of them as far as I can remember. And people like to give Costner shit, but I just really dig Costner in general, especially his speech at the Oscars recently.
which hopefully people will look back on positively in retrospect if they're not watching it when the show has been running for 3.5 hours.
Have you guys seen Wings from 1927? I mean,
I have something that I didn't know existed until I looked into it. Let's see if I can do this quickly.
I mean, I haven't seen it fully, but I have seen bits, and I think, you know, at least in terms of like its classic stuff, you know, I understand its significance. Obviously, as the first Best Picture winner.
I didn't know until I looked for it that Wings is on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
and it's a really nice one.
I guess if there's a good film version, it can obviously be much easier retrofitted to Blu-ray.
I love that they give Gary Cooper an "and" credit, even though he's like an extra. Oh, it's on the cover. It's shameless.
Yeah.
I don't. It's what you were saying. It's basically just about its significance because it's kind of boring and it's very fucking long for what it is. But I appreciate its existence. So there could have been a much worse movie to be the first Best Picture winner, especially back then.
I'm trying to think. Pacino was in Panic at Needle Park a lot, wasn't he?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like the one where it was like, I want to say Stallone and like that softcore porn film before he was Rocky.
The Party at Kitty and Stubbs.
And then, there was the one on Best of the Worst that I think from Red Letter Media, where like George Clooney's in the first 5 minutes and then gets killed off, but like all the releases say George Clooney's in it.
Yeah, that's that. It's that high school. I can't remember its name now. I think something high. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. He is, however, a main character in Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
He's got that going for him.
From the last this is Bry coming in. From the last podcast, I've seen all 8 Harry Potter films.
Nice.
As well as watching Blue Valentine.
Excellent.
Kon-Tiki. Monsieur Lazare. Which I just love because it sounds like what is it? Is it Senor Lazare in Spy Who Loved Me? Was it
Oh, it might be.
There's somebody Lazare in that, I think. That isn't Max Calber. Oh no, it's blooming Man with a Golden Gun. I remember that. Lazare.
Now that he's brought up Potter, I should probably segue into something real quick.
I'll just finish off with Bry. I've also rewatched Boyhood and the Theory of Everything. So, on the Potter front.
So we were asked a while back, I think it may be in our first Q&A, what our favorite Potter movie was, and I took that time to bash David Yates and talk about how one-note he is. And then I did it again when I reviewed Secrets of Dumbledore. Just bashing David Yates as hard as I can. And then I talked about Senior Year recently, the Rebel Wilson movie, and I went off on Netflix for how it's getting towards being a relic because it's making a lot of stupid decisions and just being an all-around piece of shit. And just fuck Netflix, fuck Netflix, fuck you. So, I guess some news came out of Cannes. I guess Emily Blunt has something coming up. Where it's going to be... They described it as an Adam McKay-esque movie about her, like, selling pills or something illegally. It kind of sounds like Queen Pins or something. And supposedly this movie is set to go at Netflix, and David Yates is going to direct it. Now, let's put it aside that Blunt is above literally everything I just said. How is somebody as fucking one note as David Yates can even try to do the Adam McKay thing? Like, I know because the Adam McKay thing's already played out. Like, it's we just having a whole award season with Don't Look Up in it. We've been through this. And it's like, I'm basically feeling the way I did going into Wild Mountain Time, where it's like, please have a scheduling conflict, or please back out, or something. Find some reason. So I don't know. I know she likes to really have control over her characters now, ever since Edge of Tomorrow, which is great because she's a genius, obviously. But maybe working with these shitty directors gives her more power, maybe, and so she can. It helps her bring more to the. I'll be really interested to see how she's been working with Nolan, or maybe it's one of those. Oh, I work with Nolan, now I got to do some David Yates bullshit.
It's called Pain Hustlers.
Yeah. So.
And it's from the writer. And it's from the writer of Nothing.
Oh, that's great. That's not insulting at all.
Wells Tower has no other credit other than paper, and You Shall Know Our Velocity. So what we've established is this person likes to write scripts that have titles which make no sense. Blimey. Josephine says, somebody wrote on Letterboxd in a review for Triangle of Sadness, it's Parasite meets Sweet Life on Deck.
Now this intrigues me greatly. I like both of these things. Let's go.
Yeah, because like I was saying when we talked about the canned lineup, I'm just find him exciting now anyway. So I already had kind of high hopes for it, and now that it's got the palm under its belt and that description, okay.
Brian forgot to mention in the last hangout. After seeing Black Swan, I agree with Tom Cooper's win for Best Director, and after seeing Hugo, Scorsese should have won Director.
Oh, that's right. 2010's kind of a rough area here because a certain somebody that we're talking about right now thought The Social Network was overrated, and that's why he didn't bring up Fincher. So, well then. That's the end of that.
Sorry, we're channeling some Obi-Wan. Like, hello there. Josephine saying,
yes, Brian. That still stings, by the way.
Josephine says Justin Chang continued saying his next film will be set at the Pentagon. Bri only has 3 movies left for the Best Picture movies for 2010, and the movies this week are going to be Amour, Descendants, and Kids Are All Right.
Well, I like 2 of those.
I love The Descendants.
Descendants is really good. You'll see Shailene Woodley in a better light in that movie too.
I don't know. I saw it a lot in that period. Like during that award season, I probably saw it like 3 or 4 times, and I don't think I've rewatched it since. But my memories of it are very, very fond, and I might actually, like, now that this has been brought up, I might rewatch it very soon just to make sure it's still that good. But I'm pretty confident it will be. I can't fucking believe that was over 10 years ago.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Josephine saying, because Koreeda is Japanese, I wonder if there's a possibility that Japan can submit Broker as their contender. Then again, it comes down to the financing of a country's particular film industry. For instance, Switzerland tried submitting Three Colors Red for the 94-95 season, but wasn't accepted because most of the financing came from France. Despite that, Three Colors Red was nominated for director, original screenplay, and cinematography, and guaranteed it would have been nominated for picture in a field of 10. P.S. Irene Jacob was robbed of a nod, but won Best Actress at Cannes '91 for Double Life of Veronique, also directed by Kozlowski, who directed the Three Colors trilogy. Jumping back to Bry, my ranking of the 2014 picture nominees is the same as when I originally saw them. Nothing has changed in 8 years. So, the order for Bry is number 8, Boyhood, number 7, Birdman, number 6, Theory of Everything, number 5, Imitation Game, number 4, Selma, number 3, American Sniper, number 2, Grand Budapest, and number 1, Whiplash.
You got 1 and 2 right. Heck yeah, you did.
That's like I was saying, Boyhood's actually really grown on me. So imagining it underneath the Theory of Everything isn't sitting very well, but I've been toying with it because Eddie Redmayne's really grown on me. So I've been wondering how I haven't watched the Theory of Everything since Eddie Redmayne's been growing on me. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. Rewatching that. I'm not gonna get the Selma love ever. That movie felt so fucking made for TV, and it's so. Ava DuVernay, honestly, I've probably said this before, with the exception of When They See Us, Ava DuVernay is such an overrated director. I don't get it. She's people put her on a pedestal. She has not proved herself as a director very much, and she did that She did 13th, didn't she? That documentary. The prison documentary, but yeah. So it's more like when she's doing I don't know. I was gonna say doing nearly documentary stuff, but then again, Selma's kind of When They See Us obviously is, a narrative production with actors, but it was so good it felt like a documentary.
Irene Jacob was also in U.S. Marshals. Thoughts on U.S. Marshals? That's how you do a sequel, and have it only be slightly relevant, but keep it, keep the consistency.
Yeah, I always liked it, but Downey has I can't remember what it is now. It's really elaborate, but Downey has a really great quote that summed up how miserable he was making it, and I can't remember exactly what the quote was. It was something like, "I'd rather insert really elaborate, disgusting thing than have been on the set of U.S. Marshals."
Oh,
yeah, I remember.
It's like that, is it? Ranking of the 8 Harry Potter films according to Bry. Number 8, Deathly Hallows Part 1. Number 7, Deathly Hallows Part 2. Half-Blood Prince at 6. Prisoner of Azkaban at 5. Order of the Phoenix 4. Goblet of Fire 3. Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone at number 2. And Chamber of Secrets as number 1.
Interesting. I really like Chamber of Secrets because it's basically a horror movie.
Can't watch that movie. Not with open eyes.
I get Deathly Hallows 1 being at the bottom. I think I elevate Deathly Hallows 1 in my mind a little more because I really, really love the Nick Cave scene. but yeah, that's probably the only memorable scene in it.
I'll always put Azkaban as number 1 because Alfonso made it dark without killing anybody significant until they all started dropping like flies come Goblet of Fire. Alfonso set the precedent.
Yeah, I'd have a really hard time ranking them. I just know Sorcerer's Stone is my favorite one, and as I said before in that previous Q&A, was that I'm all in on Chris Columbus being where my heart lies with Potter. But when it gets darker, when you're supposed to get more emotionally attached to it, I get more detached from it. But Goblet of Fire, I used to think Goblet of Fire was kind of too much at once, but I've really grown to appreciate Goblet of Fire over time. Prisoner of Azkaban. I remember Prisoner of Azkaban threw me off when I saw it in theaters because I didn't know there was a director change, but you can tell right away and through the whole movie that the director has changed. But yeah, but now that I've gone past that, I can appreciate more that Cuarón's own unique vision being brought to it. Because I can actually see once you see Cuarón do it, that Chris Columbus might seem bland by comparison. But there's just some kind of magic about Columbus's two movies that I can't let go of. And then, like I said, then David Yates came in and just made us stare at gray walls for a few movies.
Josephine has her one per stream. Buy one, rent one, lose one. It's the Washington DC edition. So the ones we've got to pick from are Being There, Dave, The American President, All the President's Men, The Pelican Brief, Failsafe, Clear and Present Danger, Enemy at the State, Minority Report, and Mars Attacks.
The Pelican Brief is basically what you just said about the Potterverse in one movie. The Pelican Brief has so many actors in it, and halfway through they kill off like 3/4 of the cast. Like all at once. Oh my god. So many of these are on a rewatch list. I did rewatch the Pelican Brief recently because the whole Depp Heard thing has gotten me obsessed with rewatching court movies. And I have a Blu-ray 3-pack of A Time to Kill, The Pelican Brief, and The Client, and I just watched that like the other day, all three of them. Oh my god.
For me, I probably buy All the President's Men. Rent Being There, because that I think is very underrated. I think people don't get it because it's a bit too subtle. And I guess Clear and Present Danger, because it's annoying because like Patriot Games is the better one because it's got Gary Oldman being crazy.
Sean Bean.
Yeah, I was just. You remember the villain and not Harrison Ford, even though he's supposed to be Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Like you remember Sean Connery for Hunt the Red October, but not Alec Baldwin. I completely forget Chris Pine. I just remember Kenneth Branagh as the villain in that Shadow Recruit one. That's it.
What's funny is I remember Branagh's the villain. I keep forgetting that Branagh directed it too.
Exactly. And the only one where it's like I do remember is Affleck in Sum of All Fears.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Everyone else, it's like I remember the villain.
It would probably put Minority Report at the top. Then All the President's Men. And then get rid of Mars Attacks. Seems like the obvious one to get rid of because it's not as, well, it's if I was going on a writing level, I would probably knock out Mars Attacks. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say so. It is a B movie, basically script.
Yeah, because they get really fuck it. I gotta say Mars Attacks by default because there's not a bad one here.
You want to weigh in, Owen?
I haven't seen most of these, sadly. I guess by Minority Report, Rent, Mars Attacks and get rid of Dave.
Poor Kevin Kline.
Only because I have to go with the movies I've seen.
He was a better president in Wild Wild West, and you know it.
Yeah, are we going into Enemy of the State viewing it as a sequel to The Conversation? Because I really I don't typically go into the whole theory thing, but I kind of really love that theory.
Yeah. No, that is believable. Then again, did we change the name of the character?
Yeah, he's in hiding because he's paranoid.
Oh, so it's actually not his real name that's being used. Shenanigans. Josephine saying you're preaching to the choir, Bri, because Chamber of Secrets is my favourite one too. I can't join. Josephine can't join the late shift discussion tomorrow because she has other obligations. Bri has watched it over the weekend as well.
Good.
In some relationship stuff, Chloe Sevigny got married to a Croatian art gallerist a couple of weeks back, along with, at least so far this year, Harry Potter alum Bonnie Wright and her boyfriend got married, and Billy Lord from Booksmart got married to her boyfriend as well. Spencer saying, I love Chamber of Secrets and Azkaban the most. Goblet of Fire was probably my least favourite. I mean, it set the precedent. That was the first time we saw Rafe, right?
Yes.
I was trying to remember. Because Voldemort was in so many of them, and it's like, is that supposed to be Rafe? Is that Rafe? Is this like Star Wars? And it's like, why is Ian McDiarmid still playing him? He's been in 8 films.
Then let us not forget that teaser trailer for the Half-Blood Prince that showed his face in a quick flash when he's not even in the fucking movie.
Would that be because he was filming Skyfall? Well, no, wouldn't it be before that? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that would have been 3 years apart.
I'm trying to think what that would have been in 2009, I think.
Yeah.
Coriolanus was 2012? Was that? No, 2011, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just amazed that I remember that.
No. Well, I was thinking, was it Half-Blood Prince that they said is the least like the book, I think? I know Order of the Phoenix was, like, stripped apart badly.
Jack White also got married for the 3rd time this year. Is that why his hair's been dyed blonde now? This is one that I'm interested if it's going to come up, AJ. Thoughts on the Winnie the Pooh horror film from Spencer?
I think when stuff like that happens, it's just really cringy. And I don't subscribe to the idea that that's
just
necessary.
Because something is public domain doesn't mean you want to use it for whatever means you will.
Yeah, and it works as like a joke, like when remember the Christopher Lloyd Willy Wonka thing that was just like a little trailer somebody made. That, and then Macaulay Culkin did like that horror Home Alone thing that was just a little like 1 minute short, and it's like there I guess it's fine, especially since it's clearly just a joke, but a whole actual thing, it's only made to get attention, which it's unfortunately doing. It's the Sharknado bullshit. It's just doing it for the attention.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to give it to it.
Thoughts on Sofia Coppola and her work? As director, I think she's been pretty good. I still can't forget The Godfather Part 3. Even though Coda sort of somehow mends it slightly.
I have a weird relationship with her because I'm pretty sure that I'm not crazy about her, but I like her. I have a specifically weird relationship with Somewhere because I was watching Somewhere when it first came out, and I was like, this is the dullest, most repetitive shit I've ever seen. And then as it was going on, it's like, yeah, I get it. You're full of allegories and symbolism. I don't fucking care. I get it. Yeah, the random text messages he's getting, they're his own self-loathing. I get it. He's driving around in circles all the time because he has no path in life. I get it. I don't fucking care. And then the movie ended, and I was like, that was pretty good. That's how I feel about Somewhere. When I watch it, it drives me fucking insane, and as soon as it's over, it's like, I get it. That's very well done. And Stephen Dorff's really good in it too. I actually just rewatched The Beguiled recently, her version. And she's a great artist as far as a camera goes, and I don't love or hate Marie Antoinette, but I kind of dig the anachronistic thing. I think it's especially because I don't care for period pieces, and to see one done in such a lively fashion was so unique, at least at the time. So like and I like Lost in Translation without loving it, so I definitely have appreciation for her, but I can't find passion for her, I guess you could say, when I kind of wish I did, because her movies look amazing.
Any thoughts yourself, Owen?
Not really. I've liked what I've seen so far. That's about as far as I can go.
You know, so I was pretty young when I saw The Virgin Suicides. That was pretty scarring, but in a commendable way.
I'm trying to do most of the reading of the Q&A. One, to save your voice, Owen, because you'll need it tomorrow. Because you're going to talk a lot about that. Favorite short film ever?
Heel.
Oh.
It's available on Vimeo if you want to check it out right now. Ryan Nemeth, Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler's brother, did a movie, and it is pretty powerful. I definitely recommend it. It's. I will say though, it does have a trigger warning, but you can find that out right away because it will give you all the information before it starts.
It's too packed away, but I literally got it in a. I literally got a DVD bundle from like a nearby neighbor, just because I saw this in here, and I was like, they actually released this on DVD, even though it's like 9 minutes long. Sete and Rendezvous. The film that was like, you know that bit in The French Connection where they stuck the camera to the front of the car? Let's just do that. Let's not tell anybody. Let's go 5 in the morning on the day of a holiday in Paris, and let's drive in a automatic Mercedes, but we'll dub on the sound of Ferrari to make it sound fancier, from one side of Paris to another in real time with no like. There's your actual one take. So much so the director, who by the way double Palm d'Or winner, and then like 6 years later decides to make this guerrilla film. Literally goes to his girlfriend at the time and says, "You stay here. I'll be back in about 20 minutes because I'm gonna drive there and then I'm gonna drive back. And when I get there, make it look as if, oh look, I love you." Sort of. You can certainly see the precedent of like stuff. The closest I guess would be Ronin, and maybe Taxi as well, whichever I guess all the Taxi trilogy. Although I believe there is a Taxi 5. I was just aware of there being 1, 2, and 3, and then was it Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah in the American one, or did I get the wrong one?
I thought they were two. I thought they were two totally different things. I assumed.
We all thought they were They were completely different things.
I assumed Luc Besson's thing was like sci-fi or something.
No, Taxi is just about a taxi driver.
Shit.
It's basically the one with Queen Latifah was the American remake, because there has to be an American remake.
Oh my god.
The original Taxi. It's not coming up in the movie club, but it's one that I recommend, because you can certainly see a lot of, because Besson did Ronin, didn't he?
I think Ronin is Frankenheimer, I think.
Oh, right. But certainly there's a lot of very good action stuff in there. I guess, like, because he can actually do cars rather than flying spaceships in Fifth Element. I did all this time to try and make you think of your short film, AJ.
I've got a few in my head. A lot of my favorite shorts are probably animated.
Same.
Like, there's one from the 80s called The Big Snit. That's just, I'm just doubled over with laughter every time I see it. It's the reason you might catch me sometimes saying, why don't you just go join a shaken rock and roll band? Which you need the context for. There was one from like the 40s that really scratched my itch for winter imagery. I think it's called The North Star, I think. It just has all that really wintry imagery that I like. Stop, Look, and Listen is something that's very creatively done. Miracle Fish stands out, the one that's unfortunately dreadfully topical. There's a few. I don't know that I have like a specific favorite one, but those are a handful.
I forgot one. Mainly because I was thinking of bringing it up at some point. The one that had its first light of day on the Hot Fuzz DVD, and that's Edgar Wright's Dead Right, which arguably is the pilot for Hot Fuzz, which is basically it's just very well done, and it breaks the fourth wall as well. It's about 25 minutes. It's really just something that's in the archives. Just a student film that he made, featuring the same shop that gets into the siege in Hot Fuzz as well.
Is it supposed to be just on the regular DVD or like that big special one, or?
Well, it was on the two. I think it's on the 2-disc special edition.
That makes sense.
But
this one's telling me, but this was also one of those ones that has a few listed and then just says "and more."
Yeah. And I think it's on Vimeo. It's around on the internet at least. So it's one you can check out if you want to.
This is gonna be one of those questions where I think of like 5 more that are better 3 days from now.
Ranking the Mission Impossible films best to worst, says Spencer. Oh.
Well, we know where we're starting at the bottom.
I'm not sure.
Macquarie's are probably objectively the best ones, but I really, really love the third one, the J.J. Abrams one with Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm so tempted to say that's still a favorite one, but Macquarie's are just on a whole fucking other level, man.
I'd put 1 as my favorite, just because it did set the precedence of like, but Phelps is supposed to be the good guy.
Yeah.
Why is
And
he
it's
the
like,
bad guy?
John Voight's second credited, and they kill him in the first 3 minutes. Oh, too bad he won't be back.
Oh wait, they literally showed that scene in the bloody montage, in the video, in the credits, in the start. It's like
I haven't seen the first one in so long.
I feel with Kittredge coming back for the new one next year, a lot of people are going to have to go back to that eventually. I'm honestly split on
'Cause
worst between 2 and 4. Because
I think
I
2
remember
is much
1.
worse.
I remember 2 for all the wrong reasons. I remember 3. I remember 5. I remember 6. I keep having to remember that Russian guy was the villain in 4. The only thing memorable about that one is 1, him going up the building, and 2, they killed off Tom Wilkinson. Damn it!
Because I feel like Fallout would be objectively the best. I almost want to say Fallout and Rogue Nation, then 3. I really, really love 3. I might have to abstain from 1 until I rewatch it, because I remember Emilio Estevez in the elevator, and I remember like the famous scene. That might be about it, and the Voight fake out, and the climax was him and Jean Reno and the train and shit. Maybe I remember more than I thought, but
I enjoy Rogue Nation more than Fallout because it actually had like the villain has the upper hand like within minutes.
Yeah.
As soon as he goes in that record shop. Whereas it just seems like spectacle stuff for Fallout, really. Well, because of course that basically was probably where it was supposed to finish. I mean, they wrapped it up nicely.
I'll bet they're really, really happy they killed off Alec Baldwin in Fallout now. Oh man. You know, now that you mention it, I am starting to realize how little I remember Ghost Protocol. Wasn't there like a sandstorm in Ghost Protocol or something?
Well, yeah, because it's supposed to be Dubai, which is when he went Spider-Man up the Burj Khalifa with the gloves.
So I can say for certain that 2 is last, and the top 3 in some order are Fallout, Rogue Nation, and 3, and 1 needs a rewatch, even though I apparently remember it relatively well.
I'm guessing you must have seen a few, Owen?
Just the ones that came to the theater.
Yeah.
So you've probably at least seen, from the time that I've known you, and then the time that you lived here, you've at least seen 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you would have seen 1 or 2 or not.
I didn't, actually.
The only experience you probably have of 2 is that random spot with Ben Stiller in the MTV Movie Awards, maybe.
You are correct. Yeah, I concur with you. 3 is definitely top. Hoffman at the heel? Oh god, yes. Give it to me now.
2 also has that random fucking Anthony Hopkins cameo.
I forget Lawrence Fishburne was, not Kittredge in the 3rd one as well.
Yeah, he's only in the 3rd one. It's weird.
Yeah, it was like setting the precedent. It's like Kittredge only in the 1st, Hopkins only in the 2nd, Fishburne only in the 3rd, Wilkinson by default only in the 4th. And then it's like, why is there somebody in multiple ones, damn it? And why is Kittredge coming back? Have we run out of people that want to be in it because they know they're not going to be in the next one? Then again, if 7 is part 1 and 2, probably they are going to be in the next one. Joseph,
It's also difficult ranking them because since Rogue Nation and Fallout pretty much go hand in hand, because Rogue Nation and Fallout are pretty much a part 1 themselves.
Josephine's now asking us to rank the vacation movies because there was a marathon of them on television this weekend. I guess because of the Memorial of Days.
Oh.
Josephine has Christmas,
What
Vegas, the original Vacation, and European Vacation. Those are the only 4 that Josephine mentions.
That's pretty high praise for Vegas.
That's the reason I liked you, honestly.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go Christmas, then the original. Yeah, I probably have to go Vegas and then European. European gets a lot of shit, but European has a lot of great bits in it too.
It's fine. I mean, yeah, it's weird because I like Christmas a lot, but I never got the absolute end all world be all for it that everybody I know did. So I feel, because I have connected with this movie way more than I have any right doing so, and I quoted it on this network before. I quote it in everyday conversation. AJ can vouch for this 100%. Honestly, I would probably have to go Vegas 1 because I love that movie so much. And then I'd have to go with the original. And then I would go Christmas, and then I'd go European.
I just love that European's basically the bastard child. That's it. The European still has good bits. I love the scene on the train when they're all just making their own individual noises, and it gets they have a musical moment. I love when the whole getting stuck in the thing and the Big Ben thing. That's a great bit.
And obviously, being the coaster enthusiast I am, the fact that the finish of the film takes place at Six Flags Magic Mountain, kind of a big deal to me. So,
Vegas. I was saying that about Europe. Vegas does have a lot of great bits in it. I love the shitty casino with all the shitty games.
How about we take you out back? I kick you in the nuts, and we call it a day.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in another stream for some reason, but where I've actually seen people say that despite it being, some of the big comedic scenes of the movie, that the Wallace Shawn scenes in Vegas Vacation are actually really accurate depictions of gambling addiction.
That's a shoot. And you want me to tell you something funny about this that you're probably going to laugh hysterically at? That good luck, everybody. I do that before some of my guests just to throw people off, and it's fun. Yeah. So, yeah, I've rode the roller coasters that are in Vacation. Now, granted, they're not the same because it's changed a lot since the movie came out. And my God, Colossus got RMC'd, and it's one of the best coasters I've ever been on. So, not exactly the same, but yeah, I have stepped foot where Roy Wally did. And honestly, we're closed, Moose out front should have told you. Still use that to this day. When I don't make Clerks references at work, I generally make that Vacation reference. We don't talk about the last bit of that. I'm glad you didn't mention it because it doesn't need to be mentioned in anything whatsoever. There is not another Vacation movie. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't exist.
Oh. The one that's somehow related to Christmas Vacation.
Oh god, the fucking yeah.
It is
Yeah.
known as a Bill and Ted joke about a movie that doesn't exist, and only that, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, what's really great is it's irrelevant anyway, because I don't know about you guys, but I never even saw it. So,
Oh, I did, and I hate my life for it.
oh my god,
I
why?
like.
Why did you do that?
I had to. I don't know why.
I forgot it existed.
I popped every single time Thibodeau made the reference about vacation movies sucking, and the fact that it was a joke where they basically were doing a rib on the Griswolds as the opening for Bill and Ted that year, and basically said the new vacation sucked, Dad, and I'm the only one that pops for it every single night, and it never failed.
Oh,
It was
whoa.
clapping. And that
Oh
was
my
it.
god. Okay, hold on. Okay, yep. We went two different. Okay, you're talking about the Ed Helms one.
Yes.
That's funny. I spent like half an hour reviewing that movie, and that's not even what I thought you were talking about.
It goes to show you how bad Christmas Vacation 2 was. That it
Yeah, I was gonna
literally
say-
is like, is it that or is it the reboot?
Yeah, that Eddie spinoff they did for TV was the one I never saw. But obviously the Ed Helms thing.
That's what we hereby be referred to as now.
Right.
So
I hated that movie so much. By the end of that review, I was physically exhausted. And I think it was funny enough. I think it was the same day as Rogue Nation.
it was.
And then for you guys, technically Van Wilder's National Lampoon,
Ugh.
whereas over here it was just Van Wilder and Van Wilder 2. They didn't even put the National Lampoon bit on.
Yeah, because they were trying so fucking hard to make an Animal House.
Yeah.
Yep.
When Animal House is overrated anyway, but that's another conversation for another time, isn't it? Put your pitchfork somewhere else. We'll talk about it later.
Josephine liked European Vacation the least because the actress who played Audrey was so annoying. All caps.
With her beret and everything.
You're talking about Dana Hill. That's not nice.
Oh, loads of messages getting retracted. Don't retract them all, Josephine. I'm going to try and get through them as quick as possible. I'm just noticing some are getting retracted. Like, what? If the Oscars, Bri saying, if the Oscars fan favourite was done right by doing the best of a year that were not nominated, which one of the top 10 would be in the top 5? The options are Come On, Green Knight, The Harder They Fall, A Hero, In the Heights, Last Duel, Mass, Passing Pig, and Titan.
I mean, I can't really say anything because I've only seen 2 of those, but out of that, I feel like it's really hard for me not to say Mass.
Green Knight, Mass, Passing. I don't want to say In the Heights because I feel Tick Tick Boom is a better musical. Generally. And Pig. Titan is very sort of like... It's weird. I like it when Cronenberg does it in his stuff, but when anybody else tries to do like weird sort of other stuff, I honestly prefer Raw, because that was like really sort of shock value.
Have you seen Men yet, Ashley?
It doesn't open here until Wednesday, but I've seen the plot synopsis on Wiki,
I'm
which
very
makes
curious.
me want to see it. Also, considering how weird the end of Annihilation was, and Ex Machina, I'm in. I'm on this ride. Yeah, it does. For some reason, they decided to open it in America before here, even though it's a quintessentially British film. All I can guess is Ken Russell's happy somewhere. I want this to be a rhetorical question, Spencer. Why did movie 43 get made? Just leave that there.
Well, here's the thing. If you were to look at my Blu-ray shelf, you will find movie 43 on it. And the reason that is the case is because one of these days I want to answer that question. One of these days.
And then, of course, the problem is which version. Because the version that came out here has got scenes which are actually, I think, good, generally thought to be. Whereas all the ones in the American one, which is like 10 of the 12, are shit. So there's
because isn't the switch out like the scenes that is it the American one has Dennis Quaid and the others have Seth MacFarlane? Is that what it is?
I shouldn't be searching movie 43.
Because I think Seth MacFarlane is in a version, but he's not in the version I've seen.
I feel by searching for movie 43, I'm going into the black bagel. Everything everywhere all at once. Like, I'm never getting out.
I feel like putting yourself on a list.
So, yeah. So instead of a movie pitch, the alternate version in the UK is a group of 3 teenagers looking for the most banned film in the world. The version of the film was released in America as part of the Blu-ray disc of Movie 43 as an unrated alternate cut. Even more reason why you should own that Blu-ray.
It includes both the theatrical and the alternate cut.
Yeah, there we go.
They're both 94 minutes apparently. So
it's the UK version is 98, but then of course if it was projected slightly differently, that would explain the time difference. Partially, but there we go.
Worth noting, I have not rewatched this since I got it, which by the way was in a fucking bin for like 50 cents used. But which is the only reason this happened. But it was in my head. I was like, I've got to study the mystery that this movie is, and one of these days I will crack it.
Another one from Spencer. For you, AJ, what movies would you recommend for a person who wants to get into film and movies? I don't want to say I don't want to like speak for you, but I feel after what you said about it when we reviewed it, the player is sort of a contender.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say movies about movies.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I feel so much pressure. Everything just went out of my head. So it's like this feels like an important question, and I really need a good answer for it. But yeah, because I mean, does movies about movies? How well does that answer it? Ed Wood would be up there.
Depending, obviously, it also depends on like what you are trying to do in terms of movies. Like, if you want to be if you're aiming to be a director, look at the really great directors and their work. Like, I think Wes Anderson's up there at least in terms of his sort of like art direction and framing right now. In terms of writing, I mean, Sorkin's sort of a obvious shot in terms of anything that he does. In which case, I'd go for sort of a less I'd say lesser known ones, but I think more needs to be shone on Steve Jobs script wise than sort of like the ones that get overshadowed, like, you know, his more recent stuff like Trial of Chicago 7 or, you know, Social Network and stuff like that. In terms of editing, anything Powell and Pressburger or Thelma Shoemaker, arguably. So it sort of depends, like, what route you want to go down to. Really. Because movies about movies, I feel, is sort of like, it's good to sort of get a look at sort of the interest and sort of like how it works. But then if you're actually looking at like a specific art, you need to go to the top works of like the people that are considered like top in that field.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's another reason I love award season so much.
Yeah.
Is the way award shows, like I get particularly the Oscars, how they are, and the BAFTAs, where it breaks down like every major category, and so it makes you, when you really look at those different categories, it makes you look for those specific things in movies more so than you would have before.
That's the whole reason the Roger Deakins train existed, because like the scale of the cinematography he's done over the past 25, 30 years is like pretty ridiculous, and getting little to no recognition from like the major awards people, or at least the Academy, I should say, was sort of that black mark sort of thing.
And there'll be stuff that gets you into like there will be certain movies that get you into certain aspects, like you were talking about. Like there was a time period there for a while there. My brother was obsessed with just watching movies that had like great scores, and he was asking just like what just movies have the best scores, and he just watched movies like that for a while. And it's, yeah, so that could go in a number of ways. I hope we answered that a little bit, because
Yeah.
that is a big question.
It's sort of
Or
like,
if- I mean,
Go
or if
ahead.
it's just like, if you're just saying like getting into movies in general, it'd be the movies you'd like. All I can think of is the movies that I just started with in life, like The Wizard of Oz and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That just show you like the magic of it kind of immediately. Like I don't know that I would start with realism. I would start with like really fantastical stuff to show you like the whole reason movies existed in the first place, which was to take you to another realm entirely, and not just say, hey, this is what the real world is and everything has to go by real world rules and shit. The thing that everybody's obsessed with now.
That's why I was so depressed that I can't actually say my first film I saw in a cinema was Muppet Treasure Island, because it was in a double bill with Carpool.
Stand by Carpool. I stand by the Sizzler joke.
I haven't seen it since, but it stays there as like that's what that's what I get with Tim Curry being Long John Silver. Is those two guys that I've seen in God knows how many American things with the kids and like hijinks and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, I think another thing to go into that also is talking about, I guess, not just genres, but also like types of filmmaking in general, where it's like we were talking about like the individual categories, but there's also stuff where it's like, if you're getting like, it sounds like a daunting task at first, but it's like if you want some sort of movie introduction, I would pretty quickly try to branch out as much as possible and not just box into like one area, especially with the kind of criticisms that Marvel gets, where it's like you hear about the movies and stuff like that, and people criticize Marvel movies in general for their content, but people also criticize it because there are groups of people where it seems like Marvel movies are the only movies they know, and that's kind of depressing. And I say that as somebody that really loves those Marvel movies. But just kind of trying to get a taste of everything. So this could be like a whole elaborate question of giving specific movies for all those different specific areas, which would be a while, but...
Spencer's now got favourite Judi Dench performance, I guess because I brought her up because of that commercial thing.
I hate to jump right on this because it's, for her career, it's fairly new, but just immediately I feel like saying Philomena. She's so devastating in Philomena. Her Lady Macbeth is really good too.
Honestly, I think it's when her most impactful is the one where she started showing up at the Oscars, and or at least in a leading role, and I'd say that's Iris Murdoch. I think that sort of as a lead thing, I'd say it's up there with Philomena in sort of her strongest stuff. And then supporting, I don't think you can really go wrong with her Bond tenure.
Especially Skyfall.
Yeah. I like her take though with Brosnan and Goldeneye.
Yeah.
Because that did set the precedent there early. Like she ain't to be messed with and whatever.
What is it? I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur is the line.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what you would have. I guess you'd have seen a few things from her, Owen.
Philomena is the correct answer.
Yeah, true. Best TV movie. Owen's
talking about it tomorrow.
Owen's going to answer tomorrow.
Yeah, talking about it tomorrow.
I mean, I'm conflicted because it wasn't a TV movie over here, but Behind the Candelabra. AJ's looking for a list of TV movies.
My internet decided to just run really slow right there.
Okay.
Alright, I hope this helps. It's some random IMDb list. These don't usually help, but we can probably hold on. Shit. Just not helping at all. Oh my god. What the hell is any of this?
Just say Bad Education.
That's true. I almost said Brian's Song by default until I remembered I'm not even that passionate about Brian's Song.
What was that? I guess the problem is for me, like some of these TV movies never came out over here. Like I looked for a DVD release of A Late Shift. It's Region 1. It's $26. No.
Do you remember how much yours was, Owen?
13, maybe. It wasn't expensive.
I'm almost afraid if I don't say Bad Education, I'm gonna have to abstain from the. Oh, Salem's Lot. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be a Stephen King thing if I had to guess. Though I don't know how much you even count. But like, are we drawing a line in the sand between TV movie and miniseries?
That's always the problem.
Oh man.
I mean, technically it's a TV movie. Like, what was that? Wasn't Firestarter technically originally a TV movie? And then they did whatever the hell they did. I think.
When you say that, I think about Mulholland Drive, which would be really helpful right now.
Was the original Pet Sematary TV movie?
I don't think so. At least not here.
I'm trying to think. There was something like recently. One of the Stephen King ones that didn't need to be remade and was. Oh wait, didn't they do a Salem's Lot like last year?
They did. There's the one from the 70s, then there's the one from like 2003 with Rob Lowe, and then they're doing a theatrical one this year.
Oh, okay.
later
It was
this year.
something that came out within the last year or two that was a TV film. I can't remember off the top of my head. Chat, if you want to tell us what it is. It's not like I'm actually shutting off comments. You can, like, talk. I'm just, like, you know, you can talk if you sort of bringing stuff up, you know, just so we can have an idea.
Assuming they were questions, I hope that Josie remembers those retracted ones for the next time.
Hopefully. Well, some of them are still there. It might have been some of them were just retracted. I don't know. Spencer with favorite movie speech. I don't want to be stereotypical, but Mr. Deeds go to Washington.
Are you talking about Mr. Deeds goes to town or Mr. Smith goes to Washington?
Oh wait, I got confused because I thought it was it's a crossover. Sorry, I've been watching Everything Everywhere All at Once. Multiverses. Nah. Mr. Smith goes to Washington. That big speech.
That's a good one. Oh my God. I mean, I hate to fall back on the obvious here, but I mean, Ezekiel 25:17 is a speech, isn't it?
I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it's such a cop out for me to go with Tarantino, but that's going to happen sometime.
I don't want to segue back to you, Owen, and your experience, but considering how you talked about the monologue from Red State, would that be up there or?
Chasing Amy.
I figured it was going to be something Kevin Smith.
Holden's. I've said that in person before. I meant every damn word at the time. But, of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention Dell, Wayne's World 2. One of my favorite monologues in, the history of ever.
That's funny. You said Dell, and then I immediately went to John Candy and Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. That would have to be there, too, the I Like Me scene. Jack on the Stand and A Few Good Men.
That's a good one.
That's definitely there. I think that, I mean, I feel like I have to say Ezekiel 25:17, but if I had to pick a speech, Jack and A Few Good Men would probably have to be up there. That might be my go-to answer.
You and Moulin Rouge. Just pick one. Seriously, I identify with all of it.
Of course, when you said Holden, I vividly remembered I'm mad as hell and I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, we're excellent.
Yeah. I'm literally looking at my shelves for answers, seeing if something jumps out.
Well, let's go from highbrow to lowbrow.
I was also gonna bring up the obscenity scene in Bulworth when he's on the TV show and just goes off.
Yes, good one.
Favorite puke or poop scene in a movie? Thanks, Josephine.
Shit is easy. That's Dumb and Dumber.
That's a good.
I guess I'm gonna have to abstain from the other one. You guys, go ahead.
I don't really have one. I try to stay away from stuff like that.
If we're talking shit, Bond's revealing Goldeneye. Forgot to knock. In terms of throwing up, I did like the touch that even what Evelyn was throwing up in Everyone Everywhere All at Once was also multicolored. Um,
I have to I have to commend Ryan Johnson for how he utilized it in Knives Out.
mhm.
That's the only way I can like I'll never watch it, but like if it's actually justified, which that's another thing that just really pisses me off with Hollywood's obsession with it and how it's in like every other movie at this point is so few movies like justify why it's there.
I guess you have to go with Hoffman and Along Came Polly.
Oh,
When
yeah.
he slips, takes the bump right away, and then of course we get a new word in our vernacular that people keep taking to this day.
And that's one of those cases where I don't know if it's just because it's an actor of Hoffman's caliber, but it's the fact that he explains what it is after he says it. Because usually that'd be like, oh, you took the joke too far, but it's like the way Hoffman specifically delivers it. It's probably funnier with the explanation.
Yeah, even Bry goes, AJ can't answer that. He has a vomit phobia. Josie says,
Thank
thanks
you,
for Oh,
Thank you. You're looking
advance
out.
warning, AJ. I have heard that Triangle of Sadness has a major scene involving both front end and back end. Damn it, Ruben.
I am honestly not exaggerating. It is every other movie that comes out now.
And then
I mean, Men doesn't have one, but something
close.
comes out of somebody's mouth.
It's close, yeah. And specifically because you hate them, AJ, your favourite period film.
Well, immediately my heart wants to say The Young Victoria. For a while, my go-to answer was Atonement, because Atonement is great. But Atonement also has a lot going on to where it doesn't feel like necessarily a completely standard period. Like when I imagine that, like when I think period piece, I think like James Ivory movies and shit.
Yeah. I'd have to say the original Jane Eyre. Although the one from like a decade ago with Fassbender and what's her name that I've forgotten about? Mia Wachowska?
Yeah.
Was a pretty good version. I'm guessing Owen's probably gonna say Little Women.
I'd say the favorite of Great Expectations.
Yeah. Which Great Expectations? I'm guessing the original.
Didn't see the original.
Oh, so you only saw Ralph.
Yep.
Ralph.
You didn't
I get
see...
another answer I have.
Yeah, at first I thought you were going Quarones, but then I was like, that doesn't count.
Austin Land was fun.
What was that?
Austin Land was fun.
Yeah. That's another case of does it count, since it's technically in a modern setting.
Sure.
I'm sure I have an answer besides The Young Victoria. It's usually something that has to be another genre. Like the original Beguiled is technically a period movie, but it's also like a thrill. Like if we're talking like strictly like costume drama.
I'm trying to guess now. I'm just skipping forward and Bry saying Great Dictator. Oh, I guess the speech one. I guess that's in relation to.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite silent movie? Stereotypically, I know it sounds stereotypical. I can't say it. I know it sounds stereotypical, but Buster Keaton's General.
Didn't we get this question before? This sounds familiar.
Probably.
Because I talked about that French movie and Nosferatu got brought up, and I can't remember what my actual answer was.
Favorite movie from. I'll go sort of speed roll on this one. Favorite movies from the 30s. Favorite movie from the 30s.
Besides The Wizard of Oz, because that's the obvious.
I'm trying to think. Was the Kid 31? Or was it 21?
Oh shit!
I'm just trying to think.
It might be 21. I was also thinking 31 as you said that, but
Google is gonna hurt me. Oh, of course. One that gets completely forgotten about because they only think of De Palma's remake, but the original Scarface is pretty damn good. From 38.
That's 32, isn't it?
Oh no, yeah, 32, yeah. And then of course, if
Another one
we're also talking 30, early 30s, either the English or Spanish Dracula and the original Frankenstein from Universal.
Another one. There's It Happened One Night, obviously, and something that I really love, that I've always loved, is the Burgess Meredith and Lon Chaney version of Mice and Men. I don't know how many people have seen, but I think this is my favorite version of this, so that would definitely be up there also. So probably there's so many. 39 by itself had so many contenders here. I think 34 did too. That was It Happened One Night here. I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang was always something I was really into. So yeah, that'd be at least a few. The 30s was a really good decade. That's hard to narrow down, but luckily I have the obvious answer of The Wizard of Oz to back me up.
Early for 2014, says Brian, Reese Witherspoon should have won actress for Wild.
Yes. I'm pretty sure I feel the same way. I'll have to... When we've done previous, like our own lineups, I have those somewhere. But I'm pretty sure I feel the same way.
Sorry about that. Did we go any further on questions, or were we waiting for me to...
Harold Lloyd, one of the silent film actors, is so underrated. Josie?
Yeah, okay, thank you for giving me a gist of where we are and think.
Because he's basically considered the third in the trifecta, isn't he? After Chaplin and Keaton.
Yeah. Oh, is it Hats Off Entertainment? They did a very good video, sort of like showcasing him and sort of how he tried to adapt for the talkies, but they just really weren't interested in his style anymore, even though he was still doing pretty damn good stuff. Josie said in the podcast I was listening to someone say Bruce Campbell would have made a good silent movie star. Yeah, in terms of his mannerisms and everything. Certainly.
And his physicality.
I love Emil Jennings in The Last Command and The Guy in the Crowd.
That's one way.
Josephine would love to see an Army of Darkness ride in Universal Studios. Hashtag give me some sugar, baby.
I mean, there is a little rumor ski going around right now. You may see Bruce Campbell one way, shape, or form at around out and about this year, but that's another story for another time. I will not elaborate or take any further questions.
I cannot wait until the post show. As in what you don't see out there. Somebody should make a meme of Bruce Campbell and Bubba Hotep suck it Austin Butler.
So, just fun fact, Halloween Horror Nights has already had Ash vs. Evil Dead come to the event before. And there was a not quite Army of Darkness house many years ago called Medieval Dead. Get it? So that had some very familiar looking people in it, but not exactly. Kind of like back in the day when we had Nightmare Man or Hockey Face Guy. Not exactly the same IP, literally just an original.
Then again, with considering
IP
considering a mess the Friday the 13th stuff is, with the fact that somebody has the rights to Jason Voorhees, but then the other people have the rights to the hockey mask, which may not even have to be Jason Voorhees.
If I remember correctly, Raimi wanted to call Army of Darkness Medieval Dead, and the studio wouldn't let him.
That's the reason why they went with it, because it was kind of like a ha-ha to the people that were like hardcore fans. And we have seen an Ash Williams at Halloween Horror Nights before.
Bruce Campbell's son is a Twitch gamer, plays the Evil Dead game that's currently doing quite well on his channel. He versed his dad. He went against his dad with the game, and Bruce Campbell joked, "I'm gonna kick my son's ass." Favorite Christmas horror film?
I mean, probably. Oh, the original Black Christmas, obviously. I was gonna say, the 1972 Tales from the Crib movie because of the first segment, but yeah, it's definitely the original Black Christmas.
I know it's not the same horror, but I do want to give a nod to what was the one with Keira Knightley that came out a few months ago?
Oh, wasn't it just called Silent Night or something? The one with Jojo Rabbit in.
Yeah, that's what I remember. It's got Keira Knightley and Jojo Rabbit in.
Roman Griffin is his name. I had to think of it for a second.
Because I don't want to say Black Christmas, because, you know, that's like too obvious. There was some weird short film that I saw on Channel 4 television over here, which was called Black Christmas, but basically it was this black guy that was dressed as Santa Claus, and it was like weird and stuff. Then again, that was also the same night, because it was around Christmas, I saw the random Guinness ad where instead of the person dancing to whatever that music is that I can't remember, it was an odd, whether it was Aardman or not, I don't know, because it doesn't seem to like exist anywhere. So like I'm second guessing whether I actually saw it, because it's like it's like lost media seemingly. But it's like a claymation Rudolph the reindeer dancing to the same music instead and doing the same mannerisms, advertising alcohol. Then again, they also, the best advert in the world ever was the surfing one that Jonathan Glazer did, like a decade and a half before Under the Skin. Which movie would you like to see made into a theme park that hasn't already?
I mean, you have to be like realistic, because like I can say, I mean, I hate the Lord of the Rings movies once you really like look back at them, honestly. But Sea Clerks too. But at the end of the day, they would make a good theme park experience. I hate Avatar. I hate Pandora. But Pandora at Animal Kingdom is phenomenal. I hate Cars, but I love Radiator Springs Racers and Radiator Springs Disneyland. So I can see how really garbage movies that I hate can make great theme park lands if necessary. Everyone knows how much I hate How to Overrate Your Dragon. But honestly, when Epic Universe would get those attractions, I'm down for new roller coasters for sure. 100%.
Is there still an Indiana Jones ride or not?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh.
And now that I'm able to understand where the snake part is and know that it's not as bad as it was back when I first went to Disneyland, oh, I love Indiana Jones. Indy's great. That ride's fantastic.
I wasn't sure because like there's quite a few like iconic rides that have gone that you know it's like the sort. It's not Mandela effect because obviously they did exist at one point, but it's like you think they're still there, but they got shut down or whatever.
I mean, E.T.'s a classic, and it's never going to go anywhere. Thank you, Steven Spielberg. We appreciate you greatly. I will say right now that one of the things that I really want, we already brought up RMC during this, so those in the uninitiated, it's Rocky Mountain Construction. And they basically take wooden roller coasters and turn them into steel hybrids, and they're phenomenal. That being said, they also have their own versions of coasters as well, and I would like to see RMC take the god-awful ride that is Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, get rid of it, and theme it to Ghostbusters. That's what I'd love to see.
I have to abstain from this question because I don't know what theme parks already exist or attractions already exist.
More Batman rides, too.
I was going to say, in terms of like a traditional sort of like wooden coaster style thing, but there's also kid friendly, even though I know it wouldn't happen because of whatever studio it is, Rango. Because arguably that's the only sort of family friendly western that there sort of is, I would argue.
That seems like a Dubai style attraction that I'm thinking of, honestly, because I can totally imagine that happen going in Movie World in Dubai, but
Actually, I do know a movie I would like to see turned into some sort of attraction, but due to fear of another Sean Baker situation, I'm not going to say what that is.
You'll find out soon enough.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Worst theatre experience.
Last Ounce of Courage.
Do you know
okay,
what?
that is actually that is
life.
legit comedy for two is still comedy because I am like completely like.
Do you know what fucking sucked, man? I'm sure there's another answer, but just one immediately comes to mind. Do you remember when we saw Jurassic World in a sold-out theater while the air conditioner was broken?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
And I hate that movie anyway. And we got a lot of hate for the review I did for it right afterwards because it wasn't cool yet to hate Jurassic World when I did. That had to come later.
Thanks, Fallen Kingdom.
And in a couple of weeks, we're gonna do it all over again.
Let's see whether Goldblum can save it. My guess is no, because even the blooming even during the middle of the 2.5 minute film that they have before the films start at my local cinema, dinosaurs are now invading that, which it's taken them 2.5 years to actually work out. Oh wait, we can do product placement for other movies in this thing because we can just CGI things in here. Oh look, there's some baby dinosaurs. There's a T-Rex.
It still has one of the best roller coasters on the planet though, so I can't say much about that. If you want to talk about theme park experiences, and honestly, though, the boat ride at Hollywood is not bad either overall.
I can't remember.
But yeah, Last Ounce of Courage, I have never hurt so much because I had to hold in laughter the entire time.
Oh.
I would say, I think that's a win. Because the movie's terrible, but we really enjoyed ourselves.
I turned into butthead, and I wouldn't stop laughing. I felt like I literally was like my face was blood red because I was laughing so hard.
Because if you want to talk about movies that you hate being, like the movie itself being the bad experience, I would chalk it up to something like for me, it would be Francis Ha,
Yeah, I know.
where you're in a packed theater and you're the only one not enjoying themselves. That sucks. So,
Hi.
yeah.
We won't elaborate any further, but hi.
But no, the first thing that comes to mind is when we saw Jurassic World. That was miserable.
I was trying to remember what film. There was a film that I had to go to, and the fire exit doors were open because the air conditioning failed. I can't remember what it was though. I still think though I guess the closest I have to the worst cinema experience is when I had to see the movie. Not that I didn't hate Revenge of the Sith, but the fact that with like 30 minutes to go, the scene when Yoda and Palpatine are fighting and then Yoda like falls from the platform down. Complete darkness. The area had a power cut. Thankfully, it was a free ticket, but it still meant you had to sit through like 2 hours just to get to the 30 minutes that you hadn't seen.
I have another quick one. Now that you mention that, when I saw Annabelle Creation in one of the really big auditoriums, and I was the only person in there, and the fucking fire alarm went off, and a very startling scene had just happened, and then I had it shut off as soon as the alarm went off, but when it came back on, a crucial, I don't know Annabelle Creation spoilers, but if we're in that territory or not, but a crucial character was dead that was alive when the power went out.
I've been there.
I guess the only other one I can think of, although eventually I did get to see the film as probably intended, sticking on the Alex Garland route, the projectionists / computer workers managed to delete the 3D version of Dread a day early. So it had to take them an hour and a half to re-download it, verify it, and then we did eventually get to see it. We also got like free tickets as well because of the, calamity. So I guess bonus out of that.
As someone who dealt with that on a regular basis, this is not something extremely easy to do.
Yeah.
And it is something extremely easy to do if you're not paying attention. This clearly means your projectionist at this time did not have any right building digital movies.
Well, that would have been 2012, so that would have been on the verge of like them getting rid of all the actual, proper projectors, and then probably turning digital to some extent.
You literally have to delete each individual movie off the projector after you downloaded it to the projector. It takes too much space, and if it has too much space, it'll give you an error message and it won't play. So yeah, you kind of have to delete things. So my guess is someone deleted the wrong thing because they were directed to delete something wrong by somebody who was a manager that didn't understand how to build digital movies. Hi. I know how that goes.
I had a question for you, Owen, and I hope I don't anger anybody.
Oh Lord, I'm scared because I know where this is headed. I think
Dread has a really big following now.
Yeah.
It did not have that when it was out in theaters.
Oh God, no.
So, I have seen people talk about having big regrets not having seen Dread in theaters. And I see people have even bigger regrets. People, like, it eats away at people that love that movie that did not get to see it in 3D. Dread, I liked Dread, but I wasn't really passionate about it, and I don't care about 3D. So I have to ask you, do you remember if we saw it in 3D or not? Because I don't even remember.
There was a time when we first got 3D that we were just watching everything, because I remember that we watched, God, what was the first one we watched? Something really random, like some rom-com.
The first thing we ever saw in 3D at our theater was Shrek 4. The first movie we had digitally was Sex and the City 2. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, because I remember
God,
going
that
to
in
the
3D.
I remember going to the meeting and everybody was like, "All right, who's watched a 3D movie?" I'm the only one that raises their hand. Ralph looked at me. He's like, "You watch Sex in the City?" And he just stops and goes, "Of course you watch Sex in the City." And then he continues to walk past me. I'm like,
I can't. Because we just watched everything that came out because there's so much stuff that we watched before we were even doing reviews that we can't really explain any other reason why we saw it. Last Ounce of Courage was pre-reviews.
I remember building both of the movies above. I definitely remember building the trailer pack for Dread 3D.
Yeah, because I think it was 2008 when we decided we're just going to watch everything that comes out, and
Yep.
that's what we've done since,
Yeah.
or what I've done since.
Yeah, I stopped that because I have a lot of writer's lace, which is now moved on to movie lace. And to be fair, I am watching movies on the week, but now I'm picking and choosing what I watch. Like right now, the only thing that's out currently that I need to watch is going to be a nice double feature of Top Gun and Men.
Really, me saying I'm just going to watch everything that comes out is really just an extension of what I was doing anyway, because once I started going to video stores as a kid, I said, I'm going to see every movie that's here. And then I've just been doing that ever since. So if a movie exists, I will probably see it at some point until I'm dead.
I mean, everything right now, but I will say one thing Spencer brings up is something that I never will forget. Best theatrical experience. There's lots of great ones. Watching a Jackass movie with a full theater, watching a Potter movie with a full theater, watching a Batman movie with a full theater. Fahrenheit 9/11 actually always got me with that weird theatrical experience, because at the end of the movie when Michael Moore says, "And for once they all agreed," everybody stood up and applauded as Keep on Rockin' in the Free World played, and I never will forget that experience.
I mentioned my random love for when I saw The Rundown. It's obviously not like, at the very top or anything, but it's just worth mentioning, and I talked about it in the video. When I saw Top Gun Maverick on Friday, that just felt really special.
Well, AJ, you'll remember this. I remember when we had Rent and there was no one watching it, so I made it part of the Five Timers Club, and there was one time that I was watching the movie, and since there was no one in the theater, I was just singing along and everything, and I was basically doing my own shoutcast of the entire movie, songs and all. And I don't remember who it was it Jeremy that walked in the back and just kind of shook his head at me when I was singing everything at the top of my lungs.
I have another answer for this, and it's one movie on multiple occasions. All 6 times we saw Django.
Oh God, yes.
Every single time was amazing, because for some reason, the end of the hallway, as you go down the hallway, the theaters get small, the auditoriums get smaller. And for some reason, the entire time we had it, Django was in the last 2 theaters, the smallest auditoriums. So but that seems like, why would you put it in the smallest auditoriums? But the great thing about that was every time we saw Django, it was packed because of that.
Yep.
And there was one guy, it might have been like the 4th time we saw it. I spent most of the time watching the old guy in front of me because he was having such a good time. This guy's like 60 or 70 or something. And when at the very end, when Samuel Jackson throws his cane down, this old guy went, "Oh!" It was beautiful.
It reminds me of when Chelsea and I watched Brokeback with Matt, and that guy like walked out behind during like the one of the first sex scenes. He just didn't want anything to do with it. He just walked out and he never came back.
I told you my weird awkward thing about seeing Brokeback, right?
No.
It has nothing to do with the movie. It's kind of has to do with the fact that was the movie, I guess. But I was with a group of people, and we went to Brokeback. And then we went somewhere else, and we ended up at a Walmart 25 minutes away. Now, mind you, there's a Walmart right here. We ended up at a Walmart 25 minutes away from the theater.
Yeah, we used to go there all the time.
And we passed by the couple that was sitting in front of us and broke back at that Walmart.
I guess the range of mine goes like the polite applause at the end of Return of the King, or Skyfall, or regretfully Spectre. For I guess because they felt that was it. Because the way that ending goes there, it sort of does feel like, you know, it could have been Craig's last. It wasn't. Spoilers in case you didn't see any of the trailers for the past 2 years of No Time to Die. Then, because I didn't think we'd get an American style spectacle, like the On Your Six moment from Endgame, I didn't think that would actually connect over here. And then, like the actual surprise one, random student screening of Electric Children, and then, oh, actually, Julia Garner's also watching at the back. A few times I've been to more than likely theatre stuff rather than, you know, live theatre broadcasts rather than cinema stuff, and I've recognised people there, and
Right.
I don't want to be sort of like too Star Trek. It's just like, wait, I know that person. I'll just politely go, "That's awesome" to myself, and then go on my merry way.
I would love to be in the same room as Julia Garner. That would be.
It's like all those supposed bits where Tom Cruise goes out in disguise and sees all his movies and other movies as well. I guess with the mask mandate, as long as you can do good prosthetics on not your mouth, you know, you can get away with it. Best teen hangout film.
Anchorman, American Pie, Dodgeball.
I mean, if we're talking teen hangout, Booksmart.
Perks.
Yes.
Perks is a solid one. I love Perks greatly.
I just said this about another Linklater movie, but I gotta go there again. It's so weird to me that when I was at that age, Dazed and Confused did nothing for me.
Yep.
As soon as I reached 30, I love Dazed and Confused now.
The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Cassie for popping in. Josephine says with the release of Elvis, Bubba Hotep would be a great movie club choice.
We'll see.
I know it's controversial because
we gotta let you guys and girls out there get a choice key somewhere down the line, so you never know what might happen.
I know it's controversial because of Spacey being in it, but I do rate Elvis and... Is it Elvis and Nixon?
Yeah. It was him and Shannon.
I can't remember whether it was Elvis versus Nixon or like Elvis.
Yeah, I think it's just
Because
and.
everything was versus at the time. Like,
yeah, I remember reviewing that when it came out, and I remember thinking it was good against all odds.
that was another free student screening, and it was like, why are you showing this? To the same extent, why are you showing Electric Children? Most teenagers are not going to be interested in like teen films that are indie. You know, it'd be like you know when the mystery films were, when I went to them at the Odeon, and people were like, but it's not Terminator. I'm leaving. I don't think I don't think any new Terminator film was going to be considered 5 stars.
Oh, God.
Even
I thought
before we
that
saw it.
Shannon. I love how Shannon and Elvis and Nixon kept up the tradition started by David Keith in Heartbreak Hotel, where it's like, you don't have to be anything like Elvis at all to play Elvis in a movie, apparently.
Considering all the reports I've heard about Austin Butler, maybe Baz should have done the same.
It is kind of funny how you can see the footage of those like 10-minute standing ovations, and you see all the happy tears and all the clapping, and then you see the reviews and how completely different they are.
Yeah. Have you seen multiple movies back to back in a theater?
Yes.
I think I mentioned the one where I managed. I think it was 2 different screens, but the cinema only had 2 screens. But I saw Booksmart, 8th grade, and mid-90s as wait, this is the best unintentional triple bill ever.
Yeah, we would go when it was our regular routine. We'd see as many as 4 in a day.
Easily.
I will say, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the only time I've seen the same movie back to back, I think.
I remember doing the same thing because I did it on Thursday night. I remember watching an early showing and also a 7 o'clock showing, and then I remember correctly, I was going to watch the 9, but I ended up coming back and watching it the next morning.
Yeah, I don't know what. Certainly, some of those mystery films at the Odeon would have been seen as either double or triple bills, just because it was easier to be transported in when traffic was less busy. So it'd mean getting in at like 2 in the afternoon and then getting out at like 10 or 11 at night. So
I lived in Moulin Rouge for quite a while.
Depending on how much Blunt is in it, Oppenheimer might be the next one that gets that treatment. The same movie back to back.
Clerks 3.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know. I mean, Scream.
Thoughts on Super 8? The best Cloverfield sequel that never was.
Yeah, I love Super 8. I know a lot of people like to say, like, I love how when Super 8 came out, all the criticism said, oh, it's so derivative, and then everybody loved Stranger Things.
Super 8 is what most... Super 8 is a phenomenal movie that, if it never would have happened, I don't think Stranger Things would have. No matter if that's ever admitted to or not, I don't think that Stranger Things would have ever really existed in the format it's in currently right now if Super 8 never happened.
Isn't Stranger Things basically it?
For the most part. Never watched an episode, like I mentioned earlier.
I guess to some extent. I know it's not fair to like compare Dungeons and Dragons to Jumanji, but the fact that like it basically the board game / Dungeons and Dragons games that they play comes to life in that first series. It's just them when it gets to beyond the second series, it's like we need to add extra lore. Like, here's a time portal to Russia.
Yeah, everybody's all adamant about it coming to Horror Nights this year. Wade Barrett might want to talk to you.
Well, at the same time, like, are the fans going to get blown out by a 2.5 hour final episode in a month?
Nope. I highly doubt it. Everybody's very adamant. I have friends that are buying like everything like it's going out of style, and that's the fan base. They just buy anything with the Stranger Things logo on it.
Tell them to come over here. The shop's got 50% off A4 notebooks.
Yeah, you still haven't sent me the Cody with the UK ring, Ashley, so we're good on that.
Cody's got a UK ring? What?
Yes.
I thought he was going to WrestleMania.
Let us not forget Super 8 is another one of those movies that falls into Hollywood's weird obsession, having a character that likes to projectile vomit for no particular reason.
And if you also want to know AJ's thought process on Super 8, again, that video exists on this network.
Is it good that I remember... Is it good that I don't remember that character then?
Wasn't it? I
E.T.?
think I think it's the kid that ended up being the guy in Hillbilly Elegy.
Oh god.
That sounds right, actually.
Along with what was it? Who was it that we talked about earlier? Bo Hopkins was in Hillbilly
Yeah, he is in that.
Full circle.
Yeah, I completely forgot that I did Super 8 with ET. That was like way in the early days.
Yep. I can't forget that one.
Because I love Super 8 so much, but that video is basically I love ET. Oh, by the way, Super 8 exists.
Bry says something wild is great.
Yes, thank you.
Spencer is
I said
Hillary.
that like I fucking made it.
Oh god. Spencer with an interesting one. Is Hilary Swank a good actress, or does she know how to pick Oscar baity parts? Do we consider The Hunt Oscar baity?
What's that really stupid movie where she's in the wheelchair? That was definitely Oscar bait. And fucking Emilia, good god. That's a really good question because she's fucking terrible in Logan Lucky. She was fucking terrible in The Hunt. But
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby and Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah, when she's really good, she's really fucking good. That's really hard to say. Yeah, I think it is a case of, is she helped by shitty projects? Or not fuck. Is she helped by good writing, or is she brought down by shitty material? Because I would think, because when she's in shitty things, she's shitty. I would think a better actress could be able to elevate shittiness, but it seems like she usually falls in with, if the movie's shit, then she'll be. But then again, she was in something as good as Logan Lucky. But then her whole presence in that whole character in Logan Lucky felt unnecessary. It felt like the movie tried to suddenly start being a separate movie in its like third act. When the movie was over, it decided it wanted to make another movie.
Oh, I never realised she was in the original Buffy.
Yeah, she's one of Chrissy Swanson's friends. The one that like kind of goes against her after a while. I know that Buffy movie really well. I don't know why.
Favorite Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie?
all the first three are good. A lot of people thought Dog Days was kind of a dip. I loved Dog Days. We saw Dog Days like 3 times.
Yeah, they're all great. I love the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies.
I think mainly just because of the illustrations from the books. I think that new animated ones I feel the strongest.
Oh my god.
I do think those first few were actually good live action ones. Hang on, AJ's reacting. Did he forget that it exists?
Yeah, I totally meant to see the animated one, and then I totally forgot about it. That was last year, wasn't it?
I think around Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was around the same time that the Beatles' Let It Be thing came out on Disney Plus / Hulu, whatever they want to call it.
I would say my favorite of the three. I mean, there is that fourth one. The fourth one wasn't as bad as I think people made it out to be. They just missed the other cast, and I agree. But I think Roderick Rules was the second one. That's probably the best of the three. Those three. I think.
There only has been 4.
Yeah, there's the 4 live action ones, and then the animated.
I thought there was more than the long haul. Also, from what I remember, Diary of a Wimpy Kid came out in the UK, but I don't know whether 2 and 3 did. 4 randomly did, and of course, the animated reboot just got dumped on Disney Plus. Oh, supposedly the sequel based on Roderick Rules is going to be coming out this year as well. And that all the books are going to be adapted into Disney Plus films. Wait, how many is there right now? 14? 17. I guess that's a good cycle. He's only on number 2 of the books. Or sorry, only on number 2 of the animated adaptations, but on 17 of the books. So he's got a 15-year buffer window for when he still wants to start writing books. Sorry, Owen. I saw that. Sorry. AJ's favorite underrated or under radar 90s thriller.
Oh my god, I know these are the questions I hate because I know there's a great answer that I'm gonna think of way after the fact. Most of the ones that are kind of in my mind immediately, I wouldn't say are under the radar. If we're talking stuff like, yeah, that is not what I'm looking for. I googled 90s thriller movies. The first thing that comes up, popular 90s thrillers. That is the opposite of what I'm looking for.
If I
some of the things that came up,
if I wanted to brainstorm something, I'd
What's
say Jackal. I think Day of the Jackal's better, but Jackal's a good 90s version of it.
So some of the things that came up here actually qualify. Like one of the things we brought up with Leota is unlawful entry, and Fallen is listed here, which I would consider probably something I don't hear discussed like a shitload. It's hard to tell what's considered under the radar now. Oh, yep, there's my answer. Okay. I don't know if it'd be my definitive answer, but right now I'm going to say Breakdown with Kurt Russell. That is a phenomenal movie, and so terrifying in this unexpected way. It's a movie that situation feels really real the way they play it up.
Thoughts on Jared Leto's acting style? Unique. I'm leaving it at that. Next question. Would you concur, AJ?
What was that?
Thoughts on Jared Leto's acting style?
His style, I think he's interesting to watch. That's something you can't say about quite a few people.
It says
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
People are really, ever since Suicide Squad, people are just all over this him method acting thing, and it's like I think people are forgetting that he actually is a really good actor. Just because he's fucking weird and serial killery in real life.
I'm guessing when it says thoughts on Bugsy, they mean Beatty's Bugsy, not Bugsy Malone.
He's very versatile.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great way to describe him. Versatility is a great thing for Leto.
Yeah, he's not willing to sort of...
a threat as an actor.
He's willing to go for, parts that you wouldn't think he'd be right for. Well, not right for, but like something that seems out of his comfort zone to some extent. Yeah, so thoughts on Bugsy?
It's not my favorite gangster movie. I think it's good.
Would you say it's underrated? To tie into Spencer's
being a picture nominee, I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
But it's that's another one where it's been a long time though. I'm gonna have to give that one another go. I can see it from here. It's right next to A Bug's Life.
Underrated gangster mob movies. It's going to show up in Movie Club somewhere in the next 12 months, but Slevin.
Yeah. There's a gangster movie from, I think, the 40s called T-Men, not to be confused with G-Men with Cagney, that stood out to me. Like, it's one of those movies that's just really simple, but I love it for that.
I'd also say on the British side, On the British side, I'd say Gangster #1.
Nice.
There's a lot of attention on Sexy Beast, and then obviously if you go to the classic stuff, you know, especially over here this week because it got a 50th anniversary re-release of Get Carter. But the least said about the remake, the better. Considering that this is Owen's wheelhouse, your guys' thoughts on Gerwig's upcoming Barbie film?
I'm curious to see what the story's gonna be.
Yeah, like what the fuck even is it?
Well, apparently there's 4 Kens or something. There's 4 different actors that are apparently playing Ken. Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, Nkuti Gatwa. Then again, Issa Rae's also playing a different Barbie as well.
I don't know what. I mean, I don't know because there's the whole social network thing where you say a concept and people are like, a movie about Facebook, that's not going to be anything worthwhile, and then it's the fucking social network. But this seems to be much more literal. So I don't know what the hell it is.
And considering it's co-written by her and Baumbach, I don't know what to think. Is this like Barbie meets Marriage Story? Barbie meets Squid and the Whale? Like,
these characters are going to be so fucking obnoxious off the charts.
is this going to try and cater to children, or is it trying to angle on the adult direction?
Yeah, it's going to be like a meta thing or something.
Yeah. Oh, coming in July, so that's around the same time as Mission Impossible, I think. Unless that's May, I can't remember. You guys forgetting Behind the Candelabra? I'm guessing that's for TV movie. The hotel scene in Planes, Trains and Automobiles, perfection in terms of speech. Steve Martin makes you laugh your ass off, and then Candy hits the right in the feels. The tonal shift is masterful in that scene. Thanks to you, James, for that comment. New name.
Welcome, James. I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh.
Thanks for returning.
Name I don't recognise because it's been a while. Josephine, had a great time chatting with you. Going to take a shower now and read before we go to bed. So, Josephine, thanks for catching us on the archive. And then Cassie with the final. Of course, it would be HHN related. I hope Stranger Things comes to Halloween Horror Nights this year or next year, because season 4 is amazing and we're not even done yet.
You're just gonna have to wait and find out.
So by the way, we just one more quick comment. I mentioned this before, and I don't know who all is watching, but speaking of seasons that are currently in session, Barry just had the best episode of the entire fucking show last night.
Ooh.
I'm still just obsessed with it. They topped Ronnie Lily last night. That was fucking nuts. That whole episode. I don't know how they put all of that into half an hour, but holy shit. Bill Hader is going to be have an amazing career as a director, and the fact that he's directing every episode of season 4, from what I heard, I'm erect.
And on that pleasant image, Owen, take us out.
So, we try to set a time frame for 2 hours. We got started late. I rambled way too long.
Have to cut those comments as well off earlier.
Yeah. That everyone. Tomorrow, we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us tonight, live or in archive. And don't feel obligated to comment and chat, but we do appreciate when you do exactly that. Like, if you have never done so before, chime in, say you're watching the show, tell us what you think. If you don't like it, that's completely fine. We understand we make everybody's cup of tea, but we kind of have a great time on here. And
Feel
it's
free to
fun.
comment afterwards as well, because AJ might
Yep.
get to it in a future video. Eventually.
Accurate. So, as you can see, the water parks videos are gone because I got those finally up. And my January Voices videos, which are about over, so that's coming to an end. So, real quick, Ashley can be found on @AshIsMyNameUK on Twitter, and more Ashley content coming in the very near future.
2 Sip and Snacks are getting uploaded to the channel for whenever Owen needs to put them up.
That sounds great. AJ, of course, just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons and also cannot be found on social media networks. But if you do want to leave him a comment, feel free to, and he'll get back with you in the aforementioned video that will come out somewhere down the line. But now that we have a forum, we can answer more questions on here just like we do every single week. So feel free to do so. Follow me on Twitter if you'd like, @SirOwenDisney, and feel free to follow along with what's going on the rest of the network this year. So we've got the Q&As and Popcast Movie Club are continuing. AJ's content continues. Ashley's content continues. My content's continuing. I got a ton of Sip and Snacks I got to put up for you guys, so check those out very soon. Lots of stuff. I got the Coca-Cola, like the gimmick Coke, the one with like the not Starlight, the newest one, the one that's
Oh.
I went and bought that.
Spoilers,
I got
that's one of my videos, except over here they just called it Intergalactic.
That's funny. Purple Thunder Mountain Dew, the Circle K specific one. So that's coming your way. Lots of stuff still to come. Got more Celsius, more energy drinks, lots of things, and more Voices video and a lot of coverage. Max Caster's show, I have that in full, so that's going to be going up on the network soon. I've got Punk's entrance from the Miseria Kantar entrance from Revolution. I have video of that. That's coming up on the network soon. So stay tuned for more information there. That's going to be your show for tonight. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. And tomorrow night, we are moving on to Back to the 90s, 1996 HBO Movies presents The Late Shift, the battle for Johnny Carson's Tonight Show chair between David Letterman and useless car enthusiast. Needless to say, that being said, Dream Funeral Gray, be very nice, very evil, and until next time, boys and girls, make it your best day ever. And that's all we got to say about that.
Wait for the obligatory rosebud.